could catch choke pokers off guard.
Yeah, you're right, Labosco, and especially when your first push gets so snuffed there, it does a lot to the mental game as well. You saw that a Drunken Monkey's not really changing up their composition or flexing to different kinds of heroes, just smashing their heads against the wall over and over, not only with the same comp, but with the same route of engagement as well, going on that high ground and trying to dare the Orisa to keep them at bay. But unfortunately, they had all the shield breakers online, Junkrat, Reaper, and it may have been wiser for Drunken Monkeys to try and find maybe a different route, as they did in the very last push, going on that low ground instead.
Well,
However, yeah.
No, I was just going to say, how, like you were saying, however, they still have a chance, right? Oasis, the next map.
Oasis, the next map, and Control Point, definitely the great equalizer map type. We can see a lot more of that individual playmaking ability. Raucous, Fox, even though they weren't getting a whole lot done on Horizon Lunar Colony, this could be their time to shine as DPS players, put their team on their back. You know, Oasis opens up a lot of possibilities, not just for individual play, but a lot of unique team compositions as well, round to round. So this might be a little bit more to this team's liking.
We will see what happens when we do get into this map. So far, though, even though there's been some moments of choke pokers being dominant, it hasn't been there hasn't been a wide gap. Let's just put it that way. It's been fairly close. Especially, it looked like too that was Drunken Monkey's map for the taking. When you look at Horizon Lunar Colony, just things sort of just didn't go their way on their second attack.
Yeah. It was. In the end, I think the moral to take away is you can't really rely on ultimates in order to force your way through. Those are kind of just, extra sprinkles of flavoring on top of your vanilla Overwatch play that you need to have that mechanics, the synergy between your teammates, the various moving parts to come forward. Because Drunken Monkeys, they had a couple of ultimates moving in each time, but they just weren't able to find the correct situation to unload them. And we are getting a bit of notification here. Lavasco and I have been wondering and pondering about this DPS player on the side of Drunken Monkey's name. It's actually 50.
50.
50.
50. 50. Well, that kind of makes sense. That actually kind of makes sense, but very, very creative. There's no doubt about that, Ham.
Mm-hmm.
But I think we're just waiting for a couple of players to come back before we get going on this next map. But let's talk about this Oasis map here.
Mm-hmm.
What, especially now, especially with being so new to the Mercy changes, what do we look for? This is still a map where you can do the pharmacy comp, Ham.
Definitely both city center and gardens really catering to the that air combo. So KLZ might just be taking to the skies with perhaps Diaper Mafia, who has played that Junkrat, or maybe Acronym, who had that Junkrat on the last map. Get some of that projectile action going on there. I'm more curious to see what Drunken Monkeys will be bringing out, because they seem to really prefer a lot of that hit scan, both Fox and 50 on variously on the Tracer, the Widowmaker, the Soldier 76. So I wonder if they'll be trying to also combat the air duo with their own Rocket Queen, or are they going to be playing the ground game once again? And if so, I hope to see a little bit more aggression, or perhaps responsiveness from the Drunken Monkeys tank line to give Fox that room if he does choose to pick up the 76 once again.
Definitely something that we'll be looking forward for. And I think we're ready to go here into Oasis. So we're going to get our questions answered very soon here. Ham, the other thing I'm always curious to see too is we've seen a lot of triple DPS from Drunken Monkeys. I feel like that's something we're still going to see. Do you expect that to change due to the map type, or do you think we'll still see, or is this where it works the best potentially?
Control center definitely somewhere where you can leverage the triple DPS, so we might be seeing some of that coming out. If Richmond does choose to go onto the Winston, though, it would be so much easier, I think, for the team to gel if he could get a little bit more support from another tank, either, you know, a Zarya, who we did see come out on Horizon Lunar Colony, or maybe a Diva if they so choose, because the Winston, with diving in without a Genji, is just opening himself up to get blown apart. And that's kind of what's been happening to this Drunken Monkeys team so far. So maybe a little bit more damage mitigation for your, you know, main tank who's leading the initiation so that your push doesn't get scuffled right off the bat.
As we're seeing the comps come out here, and it looks like the side of Choke Pokers, they're going to go with acronym on the Cowboy known as McCree, and Diaper Mafia going to be on the Reaper. They will continue to use the Mercy that they've used as well. So, yeah, Mercy's not as strong. Don't have a Pharah. No problems is what they say, Hannah.
No Pharah, no problems. That's right. KLZ and C-Chomp going to be healing their teams on that Moira Mercy composition. M&M, delicious and functional. And so it's really good, especially with this tank lineup that Choke Pokers is bringing out close quarters where you can really bounce that orb around. But a really ballsy charge coming in from Richmond right off the bat. They're going to throw Mins down into the pit.
And Rocky will get out of Mech Legend Rocks to start things off, allowing here for the momentum to push forward for this side of Choke Poker, or sorry, not Choke Pokers, of Drunken Monkeys. As I had written down that they were in red, but they're blue right now, as Choke Pokers being forced back towards their spawn, as Drunken Monkeys with the early attempt here, as they are able to take this point and already build up to 12%.
Yeah, Moira Meatball working really well for Drunken Monkeys on this time around, so maybe Control Center really does favor their hero pool. Interestingly, Acronym is actually going to swap off of the McCree and onto the Pharah. I was going to say either the McCree should swap off onto something else, or maybe Mins should consider a heavy shield tank, because Acronym kept having to peek behind that wall to try and get those headshots because he was otherwise not really safe. And so this might be working a little bit more in their favor, as Drunken Monkeys have no hit scan for that Pharah.
The self-destruct coming out here, Acronym the one on it, dealing some damage out, gets Gen Confusion early on, trying to counter here using the Graviton Surge, and the kills do continue to come out after with Coalescence from CJ Dog as they clean up the rest here of Poke Chokers. Drunken Monkeys just countering the ultimates really well that have been used.
Drunken Monkeys, there's so much meat for Choke Pokers to try and grind through, and then, oh no, a really painful stagger onto Legend Rocks. They're not going to be able to initiate it with that solo Winston. They'll have to wait a few more seconds, which means more precious percentage points for Drunken Monkey. Diaper Mafia, though, he has earned his Death Blossom, so all eyes will be on Fox's Diva. It's going to be impendent upon Legend Rocks and Acronym to try and demech her as soon as possible so that Diaper Mafia can go in there and get to work with those shotguns.
Do you think that they maybe eventually decide to do quad tank themselves? Because we've seen they can do quad tank really well as well. Acronym still dealing the damage out from above on the Pharah. Roadhog using the whole hog. Diaper Mafia does get two out in the front. Is it enough to turn this in their favor, though? Self-destruct thrown over the top doesn't get anything, and it looks like they might get this at the final hour as they do switch it over, but it's 99% already for Drunken Monkeys.
99%. They can't give up a single another fight. This is where the Mercy can really come to bear, though, because slow as it is, there still is the possibility of the resurrection, and Choke Poker is really going to be relying on both Legend Rocks, Zarya, and Mins to make way for their DPS here. Drunken Monkeys, though, that was an expensive last fight for them. They'll have to be working up to a couple more of those big slow-charging tank ultimates as they make their way onto the high ground, actually, to try and start out the fight.
See what Acronym tries to do with the rocket barrage here as well, with that in the back pocket. Right now has to make a decision with it soon. Does get one kill, but his team starting to lose numbers here on the point, and they can't really do that, as Richmond will throw out the fire strike to almost get Diaper Mafia, but is brought back up by his Mercy. As they are forced back is Drunken Monkeys.
But this has been actually really great target focus between Acronym and Diaper Mafia. The Reaper has been focusing on the tanks, while Acronym has been chunking away at that squishy backline. Drunken Monkeys running the Moira Lucio, so a lot of mobility, a lot of evasion coming out, but this is the second time that Acronym has direct killed Gen Confusion. So great target focus from both of the DPS, and they have the ultimates to show for it as the Graviton Surge comes out.
Diaper Mafia used the Death Blossom, didn't get anything for it, was just using it maybe in response to the ultimate that was used. Now here comes out the self-destruct, trying to get everybody else as they finally do clean up off of that Graviton Surge. Legend rocks with a couple of kills. Very important for his team there. Good ult usage, and they still have the Rocket Barrage.
They still have that barrage, and Rocky now desperation time. He swapped off of the Zarya, got nothing from that Graviton the last time around. It's going to be McCree, but they'll have to get a body on the point to start things off. Sound Barrier going to be leading the way, cushioning them as they make their way onto the point.
So what could be the decisive final fight with it at 99% and 9% here? Acronym dealing damage from above. Richmond, though, with the Fire Strike, will get mins early on, so throwing things in Drunken Monkey's favor, at least at the start of this fight. Diaper Mafia in the middle, looking for an opportunity very close to the Death Blossom. This one might switch over. Overtime counter starts again, coming along from the left side. Good charge used by Richmond on to the Death Blossoming, and that'll do it. But he finished it off. It was the charge on a Diaper Mafia who was using the Death Blossom that could have swung things over. But as a Reinhardt player, Ham Tornado, you've got to be super happy with what you just saw.
Man, my heart is exploding out of my chest, hopping out of my mouth, dude. What an insane charge from Richmond. Now that is what I call a ballsy play, because if he had missed, all he would be doing is padding Diaper Mafia's KD ratio and leaving the rest of his team open for that Reaper to feast upon them. So that was an insanely accurate charge, or just a lucky charge. But I'm gonna give it to the Reinhardt 900 IQ play there, and that was such a crucial pick as well because Legend Rocks was near a Graviton Surge as well. But that is the past map. We are fully here present on Gardens, where there will be the dueling Pharahs, as the rest of the team, though, looking slightly different. Reinhardt v. Winston and Reaper v. Tracer.
We'll see how those differences in comps turn out here. 50 the one on it, winning the Farah battle early on over Acronym. So good start here for Drunken Monkeys once again. Rocky showing that he can do a thing or two on the Widowmaker as well. Just Legend Rocks in the Diva, and Mins above on the Winston, left on the point, and taken out quickly by 50, showing, hey, I can play this Farah pretty well. At least that's what it looks like so far.
Yeah, and Acronym not going to try and challenge them out there, immediately swaps onto the McCree. I do like this. No, Acronym not going to like it, though. Rocky, sends him right back to respawn. But Diaper Mafia as well, switching off onto the Tracer, perhaps for a little bit more harass on the ground, or, just going to give Rocky a little bit something else to think about. But this will be difficult as Acronym once again needs some support on that McCree to try and get things done against the Pharah in the sky. A deeply entrenched defensive Pharah is always a thing to behold.
And there's an Earth Shatter available for Richmond. I thought he was maybe going to use it in that small, confined area, but decides against it. Rocky does get the pick, too, on to the Flying Mercy. So that will at least keep things here in favor of the team that is down by 2 in maps taken so far in Drunken Monkeys, trying to take Oasis here to get this back to within 1 and force a 4th map.
This is going to be a difficult ask for Choke Poker's. Acronym now swapped for the 3rd hero this round onto the Widowmaker now, but you'll have to get through the shield. Not necessarily, though, when CJ Dog is flying out there in the open. That means no Valkyrie online. He was 90% there. That was a crucial pick. This is going to absolutely pave the road, rolled out the red carpet for Choke Pokers to finish things out. Not a single ultimate expended as well.
Legend Rocks is the one who's the hero for Choke Pokers. To him, ate the entire Farah ultimate that was used by 50. Not even a chance for that Rocket Barrage to do damage, and Richmond felt like he never had an opportunity to use the Earth Shatter, so still holding that in the back pocket. And because of that hold, now you have alts in favor of the side of Choke Pokers.
4 ultimates to their name. Choke Pokers ready with Diaper Mafia's Pulse Bomb. Not going to find any picks, but nonetheless, they are buying a little bit more percentage time. Richmond, as you mentioned, will have that Earth Shatter, but it's going to be a tough ask for the Reinhardt to try and catch more than just a couple of these high mobility dive heroes on the side of Choke Pokers. But he lays flat the Tracer. That's going to be a big one. He actually gets the charge D-Mech onto Legend Rocks. This is going to open the way for 50, though. Yeah, he's going to have to try again next time around, sent back to respawn.
Unfortunate, too, that they both had the same idea, because you could have taken out a little bit more. Not that it's going to matter, just taking a little bit longer just allows for a little bit more ultimate built up. Although Diaper Mafia showing the jukes here early on. He must know that the Super Bowl's on, because he looked like a running back with some of those moves, but didn't last too long. His team does get 53%. They have to hurry back, though. 7% to go before they take it here and extend it by Drunken Monkeys.
KLZ has the Valkyrie advantage. 5 seconds till that ultimate. She needs to stay alive here. Pops it almost immediately. Diaper Mafia was the first one to go down, though. Will they be bringing that Tracer back into the fight? Acronym manages to find Rocky, and there we go, Resurrection. So Choke Pokers now with a 2-man advantage here. Richmond whiffs that Earth Shatter as well, and Choke Pokers, they might have just done it on the brink of a loss. They will be finishing off this Lucio in just a second and recapturing this point.
Finally take out Gen Confusion, who did do a lot of stalling, and it looks like we lost 50 here, so we're going to have a pause happen, as definitely going to want 50 back in order to finish this one out. But what a play there at the end by Drunken Monkeys to get this back.
That was really... Yeah, Choke Poker is able to take that back. I mean, you can see even in her nerfed state how powerful Mercy is. CJ Dog used that Valkyrie in the last fight to try and hold on to the point. They thought that they could finish things out. They were 99%. So, you know, throw all the ultimates on the board. Why not? We see that Richmond as well has also even popped that Primal Rage. But Choke Pokers with signs of life yet. They're still with Diaper Mafia's Pulse Bomb and Legend Rock's Diva self-destruct. So Drunken Monkeys maybe counting their eggs before they hatched a little bit.
The one thing that really seems to have thrown things in their favor, Ham, was Acronym going on to the Widowmaker here, and maybe it was a desperation pick, but it's paying off. Yeah,
Rocky definitely having a lot of his attention taken up with the counter Widow in Acronym, not to mention the threat that she poses to the Pharah in the air. And so Choke Pokers here, scrambling back. They're not quite out of this fight yet. They want the 3-0, man. They want to tie things up here on Oasis. And I want to see, as when we get back into the fight, how Diaper Mafia is going to plant those sticks. Because his pulse bombs have been kind of hit or miss here and there. But if he gets an early stick onto one of the tanks, that could definitely pave the way for all the DPS on Choke Pokers to get some work done. Because, oftentimes with these pulse bombs, those supports, they're always so juicy and they look so vulnerable, but they're skinny too, hard to stick, and you really need to get some value off of these ultimates. And so tanks, much more reliable and not a bad pick either.
No, and there's a lot. I mean, the one thing here too is for Drunken Monkeys, they don't need to panic when they do come back. Sure, they're at a little bit of an ultimate disadvantage, but it's easy to see them coming back in this one. Ham, 50 has been impressive on the Pharah so far, and unfortunate for this bit of delay that we have, because we're seeing some really good things. I mean, forced Acronym to switch is pretty much what happened.
Yeah, anytime you can make an enemy player get off of their comfort pick, that's going to be good going for you. But we'll have to see if that'll be enough, though, because Acronym, as we can see, equally as comfortable on that purple French lady. So 50 has rejoined our game. Unfortunately, that does mean that he's reset all of his ultimate charge. So kind of an unlucky fall of the RNG for Drunken Monkeys. But as you mentioned, Labasco, they still have a bit of a cushion. Choke Poker is just now eclipsing 50%. So a couple more fights for Drunken Monkeys to see what they can get done.
And it looks like we're about to get started here in just a second, as I believe everybody's good. And there goes the counter. So the overtime meter we're going to see that's going to go away here. But still, can't lose a fight if you're the side of Choke Pokers.
They cannot. KLZ going to be trying with all his might to generate another ultimate really quickly. He and CJ Dog are neck and neck here, just, a few percentage points apart. And that Valkyrie could make all of the difference. Mins, though, will...
Oh, sorry. Rocky is the one on the Widow now, too, by the way.
Yeah, and Rocky will have that counter Widow pick here. Diva Self-Destruct already out, and Rocky finding Acronym. Crispy drop.
There's a Widow versus Widow battle, and Rocky showing that he's going to win that one. Pulse Bomb out by Diaper Mafia, though, gets Gen Confusion, and then C-Chomp following up afterwards to take out the Winston in Richmond. So things still going in favor of the side of Choke Pokers as they try to extend this, as it's at 98%, 99.
Dangerous.
And just getting onto the point in time was the Tracer in Fox. Has to get back on, but dies right as he was about to. And that throws it back to a 1-1 tie here. So a chance for Choke Pokers to end things on this Oasis map.
That tantalizing victory just over the horizon for Choke Pokers. They need to win out one more round. But on the other side, Drunken Monkeys going to be cursing the internet gods, but they'll have even more fire in their belly as we open up on on City Center, excuse me. And early on, no swaps. 50 still going to be on that fire, who can find a lot of value even on this wide open map. Acronym, though, this is going to be his third foray into that cowboy cosplay. Going to be on the McCree. Nope, debated, overrated. Playing with my heart here, Acronym. He's going to be on the Widowmaker once again.
Fan of the cowboy ham?
I do really like that McCree. But hey, Widowmaker equally as good as the fight actually devolving on the jump pad. Really interesting.
50 with the early kill, though, onto the support player in KLZ. And that should be all the difference in Rocky, showing that, hey, I'm a pretty darn good Widowmaker, getting Diaper Mafia. As this early fight going in favor of Drunken Monkeys. Richmond following up with Gen Confusion to get Legend Rocks. And now having to regroup once again is Choke Pokers. An Acronym will win the battle this time, though, taking out his counterpart in Rocky. And now the opportunity to capitalize for Choke Pokers.
Absolutely. You saw actually there a really interesting play from Drunken Monkeys going to the jump pad, debating Choke Pokers into that area where they'll be launched in the air, where Rocky can pick them out like a skeet shooter. However, with that Widowmaker down, Acronym's going to have free reign, and he finds 50 in the air. No Tracer there. And Fox, though, answering back, revenge kill with that Pulse Bomb. But was it quite worth it? As quickly as they took it, Drunken Monkeys going to be relinquishing control.
And KLZ will bring back right up Acronym. So you trade an alt for an alt there. So maybe that's good. You do get the Mercy ultimate, or sorry, it wasn't an ultimate. It just seemed like she was using the Guardian Angel, but or Valkyrie, but she was just using Guardian Angel.
Yeah, there we go. An Acronym. Damn, son. It's been a very spicy battle between these two hit scan players. Rocky, though, he's like, forget that, man, I'm going on McCree. But no, Diaper Mafia. I was just talking about his hit and miss pulse bombs, but he has been proving me wrong once again. Is this like a reverse caster curse? Once I start, deriding somebody's play, they start doing amazingly.
Well, keep that going, because it's normally not the case. And Acronym finds Fox, using the end there of the infrared sight to get that one as well. Now looking to try and get a couple more kills for his team, having to back away very close to going down, but KLZ will find and heal him up. As Richmond popping the Primal Rage onto the point as the Winston's battle on the point. Min's not getting anything, but Rocky getting two to try and get things back into the favor of Drunken Monkeys. Self-destruct in the air in desperation, gets two for Legend Rocks, and got a third while she was in Baby Diva form.
That's just, oh man, I always laugh when that happens. But in the end, that single self-destruct just going to be stalling out the inevitable. But no, Diaper Mafia is back on the field. Legend Rock gives up his mech. But it's just going to be one McCree versus the two here. And Choke Poker is going to be able to maintain control. It's 92%. This is incredible. Drunken Monkeys need to make something happen now. 50 has to come up huge with this barrage.
Coming in is Richmond too, quickly onto the point. We are in overtime once again. Legend Rocks did get taken out. Pulse Bomb misses, able to remech his Legend Rocks. That's huge right there. As the Valkyrie ult was used by KLZ too to try and keep everybody up on the team. And countering right now, like you said, looking for that rocket barrage, but Legend Rocks will eat most of it up. But Fox and Rocky capitalizing on that opportunity. They have a couple more ults to use as well if they need to, but it looks like here that they're going to be able to clear off the rest at this point in a second if they hurry up. Self-destruct thrown out in front. Does get one, it gets Rocky, so Deadeye out of the picture here in this fight, but they do have that counter finally starting to build up.
Huh. An interesting choice to throw out that Diva self-destruct by Legend Rocks in basically a lost fight. Choke Pokers were at 99%, and so unless they can perform a full team wipe against Drunken Monkeys, there wasn't really much hope that they could finish out this round. So, no matter, however, they still have plenty of time. Drunken Monkeys just now ticking up to 50%, but Choke Pokers, they're going to have to be looking to build up those ultimates really quickly. As Drunken Monkeys, they'll be making full use of theirs to maintain control of the point.
And as you said, 50%, 50 was taken out, and now the rest of his team in desperation on the point to try and keep this. Min's in there along with Diaper Mafia, but Diaper Mafia gets blanked quickly. 70% now built up here, and now maybe going to sacrifice himself to the cars. Nope, able to avoid them all and get away is Min for a second, and Fox hunts him down.
That's really painful. You can't afford any kind of staggers at this point so late in the game. Choke Pokers have no ultimates on their side against the 4 on Drunken Monkeys. Any single one of these could be deadly, not to mention the 2 sustaining support ultimates that Choke Pokers are going to have to grind their way through. It's all going to come down to mechanical Overwatch skill play, and Acronym already going to be leveraging his McCree skills against Rocky, but he'll have to perform once more as overtime ticks down.
99% again, the Valkyrie ults on either side. CJ Dog gets the rest off onto Richmond, but at the cost of his own life. Pulse Bomb thrown out and misses from the Tracer in Fox. It's looking good maybe now for Choke Pokers. They do have a Raging Monkey to deal with in the player in Richmond who's just hopping around trying to stall things out now. Also having the middle stalling out Fox, just trying to wait for their team to come back. Now it's just Fox on the point here as the 99% are still there. Fox uses the recall here. Tracer versus Tracer. And finally, Gen Confusion coming back in, but gets taken out right away. Acronym there as this flip's going to happen. The overtime ticker burns out too fast. 50 can't get there. And the win goes to Choke Pokers.
Choke Pokers, there we have it, folks. They'll be moving on in this tournament. Things were looking a little bit dire when they got onto control point, getting dunked in this university matchup against Drunken Monkeys, but they clawed their way back and they will be moving on into tonight's Sunday scrims.
What a end we had there, though, Pam. I mean, 99 to 99% on the final 2 maps. I mean, you can't ask for a better end than that.
Definitely, and really interesting play-making decisions from the supports on the side of Choke Pokers as well. KLZ, we saw that KLZ really prefers that Mercy and obviously knows how to play it. The McCree went down early on in the overtime push, but she chose actually not to use the resurrection. She was confident that Acronym would be able to get back to the team in time, that the tank line would hold. So she was saving that up for, a slightly more dire moment, because it is, on a 30-second cooldown, which is quite long. And she ended up not even having to use that. Acronym as well, holding on to that high noon for the perfect moment. But in the end, their Choke Poker's superior mechanical skill just won out.
So we at least know who's going to advance on, but we're going to Dorado here and going to play this final map out regardless. And, this is now sort of a thing of pride as far as the side of Drunken Monkeys is concerned, Ham, but I think they have to be happy with their performance there, especially on control point, where it looked like it was going to be that they were going to be the winners twice. But then you also have to look at it, if you are Drunken Monkeys, there's just a couple of things they need to clean up, and they probably win that decisively.
Yeah, Drunken Monkeys definitely putting in that hard work. You can tell that there's so many flashes of individual brilliance from the players on the side of the red team. Choke pokers, though, in the end, they're just able to eke out a little bit more sustain, slightly more together in terms of comboing those ultimates or, choosing to use abilities when and where. And this time around, they'll have Drunken Monkeys will be the ones with the opportunity to set the pace on this Dorado map. They are on the attacking side first, and Fox, please stay on this bastion. Don't play with my heart, man. I want to see some pirate ship with Richmond escorting this payload all throughout the map. But on the side of the defense, C-Tromp on the Sombra, perhaps expecting a heavy shield composition to come out. What do you think about this, Labatsko?
Well, I think that I'd like to see some pirate ship used. It's always fun, or protect the president, whatever you want to call it. It's a lot of fun, but Fox is going back in towards spawn, so maybe our hearts are being played with. Come on, Fox, stay on the bastion.
You can do it, man. I believe and I think it's gonna happen. Woo! There we go. Drunken Monkeys are all in. Toot toot. The train is rolling out. Rocky gonna be on that flanking Widowmaker. When all of the eyes are on the bastion on the cart, he'll have easy open sight lines, although he will have to deal with Acronym. Acronym will have more than enough work cut out trying to slow this bastion.
Well, the one good thing about being on a train is even if you're drunk like Drunken Monkeys is, or are, I should say, well, it still moves the same way that it needs to go. So just point and click. Adventure is what you need from Fox here. And so far, he's been able to at least melt those shields. No kills yet on either side, and it's 50 going first out of mech. But then Fox cleaning up things on the other side with Richmond to get at least the first kill for his team. So still a baby diva to try and contest with, and Rocky winning the and a triple quad kill by Rocky before going down to C-Chomp. But what a display on the Widowmaker.
Oh, Rocky should be renamed Scary. I don't even understand this Widowmaker. He's been a little bit hot and cold here and there, but he has been blazing, piping hot, melting lead temperatures as he helps his team escort the payload into such a fast point A take. C-Tromp hasn't even generated an EMP yet, and this first point defense is all about getting the EMP if you will be running that Sombra. However, all hope is not lost. Diaper Mafia will have a tire in this next fight, and that's the one weakness of the pirate ship. Everybody is clumped up right there on the payload.
Diaper Mafia just gets it now, and still very close as C-Chomp to that EMP, 83, 86% now, so two very important ults. Fox, though, with the tank ultimate as well, can be the great equalizer because there gets the mobility of the one character who doesn't have it, but Acronym showing some skills, getting a double kill on the Widowmaker, as answering Rocky's Widowmaker is Acronym here.
Ooh, a late fight.
But Rocky will win the battle.
Rocky will win that battle, but it'll just be a consolation kill as C-Tromp drops that EMP. Just a little bit of a style points as he finishes off, maybe swapping off onto a different hero now that he's expended that ultimate. Actually chooses not to, still sticking with his Sombra. Really interesting, especially because his tanks are not very mobile. It's really going to be really difficult for them to take advantage of the hacked packs. Regardless, they are sticking with this Sombra tactic, and it might just pay dividends because Drunken Monkeys have been moved off of the payload, and it's going to be incredibly difficult for them to set up once again.
They do still have tank mode. They've got 4 ultimates. Rocky was taken out trying to flank on the Widowmaker, but honestly, it's still an opportunity for them to maybe push on. But Diaper Mafia says, good luck doing that. Takes out Richmond and then Gen Confusion, so they're going to have to regroup here as 50 gets popped out of the mech.
Diaper Mafia has just been bowling with these grenades. He's utterly untouched on this high ground. 50 is the only one who can get up there at all and try and contest this positioning. So Drunken Monkeys, look, I'm curious to see how long they'll stick on this. Ooh, another great drop from Acronym. But likely they'll look to expend their ultimates and then swap off onto a different hero composition, because as fast as that point A take was, they're down to just 2 minutes 45 now.
Finally getting back into mech is 50 here, so maybe now this is their opportunity to try and push forward with these ultimates that they have. Still holding on to the Riptire, though, is Diaper Mafia. Legend Rocks will take out the Bastion here early on. Gen Confusion using the ultimate to get back into Valkyrie. Self-destruct thrown over the top. Doesn't get anything for it, though, for the side of Choke Pokers.
But check that out. Gen Confusion tried to pop that Valkyrie preemptively, give them a little bit more sieging power, and got absolutely nothing for it. Regardless of what's been happening, Fox now with that tank ultimate takes down KLZ, but Choke Pokers has been holding so far forward they'll have at least one more defense, and they've expended no ultimates.
Still have a couple of very important ultimates. The Supercharger, which can be combined very well onto the right target, or sorry, they do have the Supercharger, but they also have the EMP, and then of course the Valkyrie as well. But the Supercharger combined with a Bastion can be very dangerous from the other side. But there, a great hack. I think that got everybody, as now you see the targets starting to fall. Legend Rocks coming in here to try and finish a couple of the other players off. They do manage to at least escape for part of the team, but not quite. It was the Widow Mine that gets Gen Confusion, so they will just have to completely come back together. All the ultimates used, though, to do that is the thing, Ham.
The poison will get ya. And there we do see the swaps on the side of Drunken Monkeys. Gen Confusion going on to the Zenyatta, Fox picking up the Soldier 76 once again. I do like these picks. They're stubborn with the Bastion, and because of it, they're down to less than a minute. The payload is just a couple meters away, and lucky for them, Choke Pokers expended every ultimate they had to their name in that last fight. CJ Dog has been holding this nano boost like a burp this entire game. Who is she going to put this on? Likely 50 for the sustain, but no, he's not going to have to wait. He's going to have to wait for the next fight. Acronym has been a monster for his team so far.
Did get taken out by Rocky, who had switched onto the Tracer, but it looks like it's not going to matter because the res from KLZ keeps Acronym in the fight, and having to regroup one last time here is the side of Drunken Monkeys.
Ooh, Drunken Monkeys, they have a really small window of opportunity. CJ Dog is all going to be down to this Ana. He could be the difference maker for his team, but they can't wait too long. Diaper Mafia already 85% to yet another Riptire.
Fox the one now. Rocky getting 2 kills here on the Tracer before getting taken out by Diaper Mafia. So the early picks in Legend Rocks does get Gen Confusion, and then Diaper Mafia trying to swing it back into the favor of Choke Pokers, and it looks like they're gonna stop this one here short of that second point.
Drunken Monkeys. They'll be trying to chug some coffee, take some aspirin, wake up from that drinking binge, man, because that was really painful. It looked so good for them on paper coming into the streets phase. They blew through point A. There was nothing Choke Pokers could do against that Bastion pirate ship composition, but then they squandered that enormous time bank, stubbornly sticking with the Bastion for such a long time. A little bit of indecisiveness in terms of how they wanted to engage. They poked for so long that Choke Pokers, as per their name, were able to build up a couple of ultimates despite their deficiencies coming into point A, and then Drunken Monkeys, they just couldn't quite find their footing from that point on.
Do you feel that maybe it was because they felt like that tank ultimate could swing things in their favor? And eventually when they did use it, it did. But the amount of time it took for them to actually use it, I think, is the thing that you have to question.
That is the thing. At a certain point, you just gotta, if the Pharah has a barrage, but she's not getting those angles, she's not getting the sight lines, it might just be time to hard swap off, because you'd rather, once again, you don't really want to just rely on ultimates in order to body your way through these points. You want to be on a team composition that, once those ultimates expended, how are you going to be finishing out this fight?
Well, we'll see if they have the same sort of things happen to Choke Pokers. They're not doing the pirate ship, though. They know what they want to do. They are going to have the still from Mins, KLZ still on the Pharah, but the rest of their comp fairly similar to what we had seen them play on defense. But when you're on a map like Dorado, Ham, this comp can work on offense as well.
You're absolutely right, Labosco. And already Rocky on a really unusual hero, defense Hanzo. And this is actually something we see kind of often on the attacking side. You know, you have the Hanzo scoping out with that sonic arrow, but he's going to be sent scrambling back to the safety of Richmond's Orisa shield. And the payload makes its merry way around. This is going to put a lot of pressure on Rocky here. He's going to be the one keeping Acronym in check, not to mention he is half of the DPS combo from Drunken Monkey, so he needs to be landing those shots.
C-Chomp doing some work from behind too, hacking all the health packs that would be used, and now finally comes out onto a very low Zenyatta, but can't quite finish it off. Gen Confusion gets a little bit of body blocking from two of his teammates to stay up, but 50 doing the work for his team the other way, as this looks like it might be a stalled push on the side of Choke Pokers, but C-Chomp already up to almost 80%, 68% right now, or 70% I should say.
Yeah, you see C-Chomp building up that EMP, and when you're on the attacking phase, on the attacking side, excuse me, you do have the luxury of those resets. The pack control is not quite as important as it is on defense to ward away the attackers, so there's a little bit of cushion there for the attacking Sombra. Acronym as well has swapped onto the Genji. I do like this. Give Rocky something to think about in terms of reflects and that flanking dive. Once again, though, Diaper Mafia really close to that tire, and he could be a difference maker for his team. Gen of Confusion going to be watching his back constantly in the next fight.
C-Chomp got taken out early on in the fight, but is very close to the EMP. Acronym does get one. Riptire coming from above from Diaper Mafia, but can't get anything with it. Very creative spot that it was coming from, but didn't get anything out of it.
That is what we might call a zoning Riptire. We'll call it tactical area denial. There we go. He did buy a couple of meters for his team, but now it's going to come down to the EMP comboed with perhaps a Dragon Blade from Acronym. No! C-Chomp going to be expending that right away.
Like you said, expending it right away. His team is following up onto it, though. Acronym with the first kill here, but the Transcendence comes out. Legend Rocks does get one. They trade Orisa kills to self-destructs. Fox now getting, though, the kill onto Diaper Mafia on the Junkrat, and this defense staying strong for Drunken Monkeys, as maybe not needed there by Fox, but he does use the visor, the attack visor, to get two, but it looked like his team was going to clean it up anyway.
Yeah, Fox, second time in a row, he's been very eager to tap that Q, but regardless, his team have held for now. They will have to be careful, though. Gen Confusion used that Transcendence very early on in that last fight. They have to know that Acronym will have the Blade in the next engagement. He won't have a lot of support in terms of a big healing ultimate, but Genji's, even in today's meta, still one of the most powerful ultimates in this game.
And with it now is Acronym. See what Acronym tries to do. He is behind the entire team, but now draws attention to himself, does pull some people back. Fox now kind of paying attention for when Acronym comes back. When will he use that Dragon Blade Supercharger on the other side? Is this now when he decides to pop it? Oh, Acronym will get Gen Confusion here early on, still being able to avoid any damage, and now will decide to use the Dragon Blade going in onto Fox, gets it quickly there, finds another target, and then a third on the Supercharger, but Coalescence here used by CJ Dog to take him out. But that's all that's left, along with Rocky.
Rocky going to be sacrificing his body to the cause there. He actually manages to take out Diaper Mafia, who swapped onto that Zarya, but overtime already ticking down before Choke Pokers can even get a point A, and this is incredible! Gen Confusion with those directs, hitting the orbs where it really matters, showing the other supports who he is. There can only be one, and that's incredible though. What? Legend rocks! He rocks indeed, and that's not going to be rocks raining down on the heads of Drunken Monkeys. That is a 3K exploding Korean gamer diva self-destructing mech, and that has just done it for Choke Pokers. They are going to be able to find point A.
just cleaning up the final player left in Rocky, who, again, just making moves around to stay alive. Still on overtime. This team won't get back, but they'll at least get a chance here to maybe get a good defensive setup because of how long that took. So the time bank not very big here to try and win, go 4-0 for Choke Pokers, but a great opportunity here for Drunken Monkeys. They do have a self-destruct, and Fox just got the tactical visor. Halt used, can't get anybody for it though. Min's now trying to use a halt of their own.
Yeah, this is all going to be the setup. EMP into Graviton Surge is going to be so incredibly powerful. No Diva Matrix to try and eat up that Zarya ultimate. Legend Rock goes up there. He does knock Fox off. This is actually a really good positioning for Choke Pokers. They're still making way through this Streets phase, but they've lost their Mercy.
Losing more than just their Mercy now, and it looks like that might be what causes them to have to reset. A minute 40 left to go. Acronym back to another Dragon Blade almost, though, and Mins with the Supercharger and the Valkyrie. So they got a lot of ults coming online here for this next fight in a minute and a half, so maybe a time for 2 or 3 more fights.
Yeah, Acronym gonna have a ability to turn the tides for his team, but he'll have to watch out for that McCree flashbang coming out from Rocky or the tac visor from Fox. Hopefully the Soldier 76 will be using this ultimate at the most optimal time. Choke Pokers, though, all of their poking has earned them 6 ultimates to their name, but they'll have to remove Drunken Monkeys off of this high ground before they can get anything off of their ultimates.
We'll see how they're going to use this full 6 here. They first start with the self-destruct up top, and it gets Fox, so the visor out of the fight here to start early on. Continuing on onto the cart now, Legend Rocks gets another kill. Rocky does find Diaper Mafia, but Legend Rocks, another kill, being the hero in this Diva and unmacking the 50 is Mins, as now they just have CJ Dog to try and deal with here. One last fight perhaps, as backing away is Fox. They only use 3 ultimates. They still have the Dragon Blade here for this next fight, Ham. That could be the decisive one.
They need to draw out this Transcendence from Gen Confusion first off. They need to pave the way for Acronym so he can get something done. Perhaps Graviton Surge out first. Actually, no. Gen Confusion going to be doing the work for the enemy team himself. Trance is out leading his team for this charge, but they need to be picking up frags for this ultimate. Fox does manage to find KLZ. How much will this get done? Oh my god!
Acronym with 4 with the Dragon Blade and 1 swipe, continuing forward, and it's going to be a 4-0 for Choke.
There we go. Shades of agilities, man. Acronym has been insane here. It's not just hit scan. He's equally good with the sword. What an incredible play. I am just gobsmacked. I was still like, recovering from that Diva self-destruct kill, but look at that. You can't get much cleaner.
And I don't know if I got cut off there or not at the end, because apparently my Discord decided that it wanted to reset itself for some reason. But yeah, like you were saying, though, that was quite the finish there. And of course, the Genji play of the game is no surprise.
Genji play of the game, very well deserved. Of course, stealing a little bit of the glory away from the Zarya, but that's all right. Us tanks, we're all about facilitating the rest of the players on our team. But man, we thought that Choke Pokers might have been held at first, but they showed us that, they have the sustain, they have the stamina to win things out, even in a long-ass overtime push. I am just... That's how you want to be using ultimates, man. I have to process this.
Right. Well, they had the full 6. They used about 3, I think, in the first decisive fight to eventually get the win. And then the most important fight, the final fight, they used the Graviton Surge, the Self-Destruct, and the Dragon Blade. Self-Destruct was really more than just there for good measure, because the Dragon Blade did all the work.
Indeed, and not to take anything away from the support players either. Everybody on Choke Pokers was playing outstandingly throughout that Streets phase. You saw the EMP come out from the Sombra, and in order to capitalize on that, it's not going to be a DPS ultimate. KLZ actually popped that Valkyrie, giving a little bit more sustain, a little bit more damage boost to wear down those tanks now that they don't have any of their shielding abilities. So really good comboed play there. You also have, that safety net of if somebody gets accidentally staggered as the, payload makes its way underneath that archway, the Bercy can bring them back, keep the momentum rolling. That was the thing for choke pokers. It was always the 1-2 punch. They were never a one and done. They always had something else in their back pocket to surprise the enemy team.
And that's why you have to just give them so much credit to Ham, because they were able to do that. And now they get to advance on here. Curious to see who they'll end up playing and what the challenges will be for them. But I mean, even though that was a 4-0, that was so much closer than what the scoreboard showed.
Absolutely. Drunken Monkeys, though, they deserve a very sound round of applause. They came here to play as well, really bringing the thunder against choke pokers. So, yeah, great plays from both sides of the aisle.
Very curious to see, and I'm not sure how close we are to finding out who they will play, but I think for them, they have to feel really confident, at least after their first few maps.
It's always good going into your next set hot off a 3-0 win. Or a 4-0 win, actually. We went the entire distance, and choke pokers, they didn't want to give up that last map either. Even though it's whose line is it anyway, the points don't really matter when it comes down to that fourth map. You got the series in the bag, but they wanted to, finish with a statement.
Yeah, and I think they definitely did that, especially with the fact that it was not easy. It was not looking like they were going to have a chance to do it. They push it in overtime to even get to the to get the first point, and then overtime again to eventually win.
Yeah, so while we wait for the other side of the bracket to finish up, folks, we will just be going to a short break. Take this time, get a drink of water, pet your dog, visit the bathroom, say hello to your toilet, anything like that, so you can be fully ready to enjoy our next great set of AOE Sunday Scrims.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Amateur Esports Organization Sunday Scrims. We're here with the finals of Group A, Choke Pokers vs. Rocket Power. I'm joined again by Ham Tornado and Labosco. Hello.
What's going on?
Hey, welcome back, folks. Yeah, so this is going to be a good finals matchup. Choke Pokers, we were following their side of the bracket so far, and they've been a pretty dominant team. A lot of really good looks, pretty deep hero pools from what we've seen, equally comfortable running, death ball and dive style heroes. And they 4-0'd their opponents, Drunken Monkeys. So Rocket Power are going to have their work cut out for them coming into this.
There's no doubt about that. Both these teams actually been around the amateur esports, but before they were called that, when it was the Overwatch University League, Rocket Power, a team that I am definitely familiar with. So good to see that they have decided here on this Sunday to throw their name in and try and continue forward and get some good practice in. I mean, that's always the best part about this is you get good practice, Ham.
Oh, that's awesome. I am not very familiar with this team, so anything you can tell us right off the bat about perhaps, maps they favor or even just, heroes that they particularly like?
Well, here's the thing. I may remember their team name, but that's about it. Because, sometimes the memory is not always the greatest thing. But the one thing that I do know about them is that they are definitely a team that is very formidable and not going to make this an easy one for Choke Poker. So I think this is going to be a really good matchup between these two.
Yeah, it doesn't get any better than close games going all the way, and hopefully Rocket Power will be able to bring the thunder to Choke Pokers, and we're heading out into sunny and beautiful Eichenwald right off the bat. And or Eichenwalde, I think is how JCap says it, and he is an American, but honorary German. He's been over there for a while, so I believe his pronunciation.
And I think we have a substitution. I think Jalupus was not in for Choke Pokers the last time. So a little bit of a change, and we'll see what offensively Rocket Power decides to do. But very looks like we're getting something we were fairly familiar with, Ham, as far as what we're seeing from Choke Pokers.
Choke Pokers, one of the interesting things though, Legend Rocks, he's been really great with that diva self-destruct positioning and just a great off-tank play in general. He'll be supplementing Mins as Orisa, so no Roadhog on the side of Choke Pokers, but they'll have plenty of shield-breaking potential in Diaper Mafia's Junkrat. Acronym, once again, on the McCree. He's been very deadly with that hit scan so far. And on the attacking side, it's still about 30 seconds till we roll out, so this is probably not going to be the set hero composition, but Yes and Rhyolite might well be sticking with the pharmacy composition.
Yeah, Yes and Rhyolite on the pharmacy shouldn't be too much of a surprise. The question is Panda Minion going to stay on the Sombra? That's the one I think we still expect to maybe change here before time comes up. But what you're seeing so far, Ham, it's going to be a composition that looks like it's going to have triple DPS, and we saw how Choke Pokers handled that last game.
Kill the Sombra right away, and that Panda Minion gonna have to be watching out for himself. Maybe he should have put a helmet on. Sombra's really very unprotected, not a lot of armor for her, but this is going to be a very interesting composition. We do see Rhyolite on the Tracer instead, Yes on the Zenyatta, but he's gonna be ventilated right off the bat by Acronym.
Yep, Acronym getting the elimination onto Rhyolite, so that might stall things out here, at least for the moment, for the side of Rocket Power, as Panda Minion just trying to build up that MP and pretty much has it, as it's at 92%, and now it's just about to go live here. So already that in, and Panda Minion using it right away, and his team following up on it. Mins is able to get Panda Minion down, but I think his team is going to be okay with that because they're getting the cleanup. Well, it looked like they were for a second until Acronym gets a double kill in Legend Rocks following up behind. And now another one for Acronym getting his counterpart in Ghost Bear.
deadly McCree here, and he's going to have a Deadeye for his efforts in this next fight. Really good ultimate generation from Panda Minion. You saw he hacked that mini health pack on the right side of the choke point, and both the McCree and the Zenyatta just farming slowly off of that. But Rocket Power, even though they went in very decisively, Panda Minion gets caught out.
So very good start to this second defensive hold here. Acronym, we've seen him do some magical things on this McCree and already providing some fireworks for us, Sam.
Providing some fireworks and providing some extra eye holes for his enemy. That's Ospare, though, on the other side, will also have his dead eye on hand. But once again, Panda Minion really putting his life on the line, taking really low before he gets to translocate out there. But, custom game sent back to the lobby by a moderator. I believe we were actually on QP rules. So, forget everything we said, folks. We're a clean slate, wiping that. You got that Men in Black neuralizer. Forget everything that just happened.
Well, I don't know what just happened because it's out of my memory, Ham, but... But do you think we'll see a switch from the Sombra comp that we were seeing run here, at least early on, from the side of Rocket Power?
Yeah, I think the Sombra can have a lot of effectiveness against the Orisa shield, but despite all of that, Orisa, D.Va still both really tanky heroes that you get rid of a lot of that shielding ability. That just means that Acronym got to step up, those McCree headshots a little bit more. It's not quite the one and done that you would that you get, say, if you bring that on top of a head of a Zenyatta. You can almost guarantee a kill right off of the bat. When we saw that choke pokers playing pretty intelligently around the Sombra pick coming out from Rocket Power, oftentimes that she laid down the EMP, but she was got deleted really quickly right off the bat, so not able to add in any more of that DPS, which Rocket Power sorely needed. So not sure if they'll be sticking with it into our next match. I, for one, do like seeing kind of these unique strategies come out, but maybe a second tank, or maybe just, a Moira healer or a Lucio to help speed boost the attacking players into position could also be equally as valid.
It is something that we'll take a look out for here when we do get right back into this, and I think we're about to go right back in. So, like we said, that whatever you thought happened before didn't actually happen. The map's starting now.
There we go. Look at that. We're on sunny Eichenwald for the first time. This is really nice. I like Eichenwald.
It's an interesting map, and especially when you take into the lore of Overwatch as well, with things that have happened. As a Reinhardt main, I'm sure you still get a tear in your eye every time you think about that specific video.
Baldric, say it isn't so. But no honoring the dead fallen German crusaders this time around. Choke pokers once again going to be sticking to their guns. Acronym on the McCree, Diaper Mafia's Junkrat. I just love Diaper Mafia. What an incredible name. And Mins and Legend Rocks bringing in that Orisa D.Va. So this is something. Jalupus on the Moira really throws a wrench into that Sombra pick that Rocket Power was coming out with, because she's not very easily EMPable or diveable. And so not sure if we'll see a little bit more of that 2-2-2 dive coming out from Rocket Power. They did have a McCree early on, but he was losing out quite readily to Acronym. It might be a bit of Pharah play, which this map does favor.
So, a little bit of a switch, maybe. They like to mess with us, don't they, Ham? They show the attacking Torb. We know that's not going to happen yet.
One of these days, it will be like Torb Symmetra attack or something.
One of these days, Gadget. Oh wait, they don't have. He's not in this. But anyway, they do go with the switch here. They will have the Pharah and the Rhyolite on the Mercy, and yes, deciding at the end to switch to the Tracer. So we'll see how this goes now that we are on the correct competitive format as well.
Ooh, Ghost Bear already. Oh, brought down to literally 1 HP. Oh, manages to escape his life, but that was a really close thing. You saw that he was trying to get a flanking angle on that mono-directional Orisa shield, but he was brought really low, but he's coming back with full force. Diaper Mafia has already fallen, and KLZ right afterwards.
So Ghost Bear showing plenty on this Pharah already, looking to put in some more splash damage in, especially now with the fact that he's just got Legend Rocks to put who's in front of him to try and stop him, as the kills still come in for their side, trying to hit this Baby Diva. Finally takes it out as he gets low. Coalescence here, battling energy duel here, but it looks like it's just really a matter of time as Jalapis, maybe the most, a little bit of an ill-advised use of the Coalescence, trying to get out, not going to do so, as they will eventually take this as rocket power.
Jalapis was the only one to invest an ultimate in that last fight. There we go. It was just to facilitate a switch. You might as well throw the Coalescence in. You're not going to be holding on to it for the next game, as that support player swaps off onto the Zenyatta. Diaper Mafia picking up the Soldier 76. Ghost Bear now will have to keep both eyes peeled. Left eye for the 76, right eye for Acronyms McCree. Gonna have his work cut out for him. He has that barrage, but it's gonna be hard work to try and get in position to unload it.
See if there's any value to be taken out of it, and winning the duel already is Ghost Bear, so now just has to deal with the McCree. Self-destruct, doesn't get anything, and the Rocket Barrage, the Legend Rocks coming in there and quickly deleted was Ghost Bear. See if the change comes in after using it, but yes, on the Genji now, gets 2. Switch from the Tracer to that Genji, and already making it felt. 62% to the Dragon Blade as well. Being forced back is Choke Pokers.
This is really difficult work for the Orisa trying to get anything done against a Genji. Yes, has already generated the blade in the span of a single fight. Also something to note, this payload has made easy progress. It hasn't halted at all in this Streets phase. Blade out now immediately finds Diaper Mafia 1-2, slicing down the members of Choke Poker's defense. And Acronym does get the revenge kill onto Yes, but with no tanks alive, this McCree will be falling shortly.
Yep, falls because of a giant 800-pound gorilla jumping on top of him, as that Winston continuing forward in XGK. Not XQC, though.
No XQC. He's playing in this game. XQC is still warming that bench, yo. But in very interesting, Choke Pokers are staying with this Orisa. They have that Battle Bongo, so they might as well go for it, but it's not been working out well. Diaper Mafia taken out by Ghost Bear, and this McCree has been showing up huge for the side of Rocket Power.
Continuing to clean up here, the Primal Rage helping with that, and in XGK, as they do get through point A, and now push on to the final point here. As regrouping right now is Choke Pokers, having a lot of difficulty. They only have a Transcendence going into this fight, and maybe KLZ's Valkyrie will get up.
Yeah, Legend Rocks has swapped onto the Roadhog. Still 4 minutes in the bank, so plenty of time to build up an ultimate, but Choke Pokers need to hold this next fight. Jalepas can't get picked early on, but the dive from XKG just looking to do just that.
XGK hopping back out, Ghost Bear popping the Deadeye, doesn't get anything for it though, but does at least force back some players. Legend Rocks though finding Panda Minion here early on, and things sort of starting to swing back in favor, but yes, popping the Dragon Blade here because he wants to keep his team moving forward. Hops back on towards the cart, takes out Mins, heads to the last player left in Legend Rocks on that Roadhog, and they get the wipe in. Valkyrie used here by KLZ, not able to swipe and res anybody, and quickly taken out. Nothing from it, as they are very close to pushing it through to this final point, but Diaper Mafia on the Reaper, stalling things out here for a moment, allowing for his tanks to get back, and maybe for Acronym to get back as well on the McCree, but they are quickly falling here on top of the cart. Self-destruct on top for good measure, and it won't get anybody, but it doesn't matter. His team keeps cleaning things up, as they will finally push here in just a second after they eliminate Diaper Mafia, and they will have a pretty good amount of time left as they complete Eichenwald.
Diaper Mafia getting dumpstered by a Junkrat trap of all things. Tracer pick not going to be enough for Choke Pokers to hold. And maybe it's time to put down to the guns. They've been sticking to them a little bit too much, perhaps, is Choke Pokers. Mins staying on that Orisa even when that Genji pick was coming in on the streets phase really hurt their mobility, their inability to utilize that high ground defense. Rocket Power, great comboing of the ultimates. Every time Choke Pokers expended one Transcendence to try and counter, to try and keep everybody alive in the face of that Winston dive, Yes was there to answer with a High Noon or a Genji Blade coming out. So good team play out of Rocket Power and really living up to your early praise, Labasco.
Yeah, they've played really well so far. I believe they were a finalist, actually. I can't remember if they might have actually have won, too, for Overwatch University League's top division, if my memory serves. So my memory is kind of a weird thing, so don't quote me on that one. But the one thing here, too, when we're looking at things, Ham, KLZ has not switched off the Mercy. Is that something that they need to maybe try something else or just stick with what you know? I mean, they do have the Pharah here, so they will run the pharmacy at the very least.
As we saw earlier in their sets, KLZ does have a pretty adept Ana as well. I think she should stick to this Mercy since Acronym will be taking to the sky on that Pharah. The combo, the power of that combo can't be denied. But a little bit more needs to be done to peel and keep her safe. XGK has been so deadly with all of those Goomba stomps, and that's you can't afford to lose a support player early on.
I like the Goomba stomps calling there. Panda Minion on defense here is running the Sombra once again. We saw it on the map that never happened. And now we get to see it once again. Ghost Bear on the Pharah dealing out damage and Rhyolite on the Mercy. So it's Mercy versus Mercy here. And Acronym winning the air battle against the Ghost Bear to start things off. And that might cause the stop of this initial push here. Or maybe not. We'll see as they haven't moved to the point yet. Rhyolite does get the res off for Rocket Power. But it looked like this was maybe an opportunity to push forward for Choke Pokers.
Yeah, that was an opportunity, but unfortunately they didn't capitalize on it, which means that Panda Minion might just be closing that window of opportunity soon as he's generated an EMP. That's really going to be giving Jaluppa something to think about, as Zenyatta is so incredibly vulnerable to that. But perhaps KLZ playing this game 2 steps ahead pops a preemptive Valkyrie, meaning that Choke Pokers will have all of the sustain that they need on the point to finish out the fight.
Getting sustained, like you said, but don't have anybody onto the point yet. It's a fight that's kind of all over the place here, but things going in favor of the team that's trying to take the point. And Choke Pokers, they finally get the couple eliminations they need, and Rhyolite just trying to build up the last little bit to a Valkyrie, which he does so. So now a chance here, though, to move the cart. So a good time put in by Choke Pokers. They're answering offensively pretty well to what would happen on the other side from Rocket Power.
Yeah, I really like how they've been playing against this Sombra pick. You saw oftentimes a Zenyatta will choose to pop a preemptive Transcendence just to save his own life, but that really valuable defensive ult is often wasted in those cases. This time around, it was KLZ popping that Valkyrie, making sure that everybody could stay healed up in the face of that EMP so Jaluppas could save a Transcendence for another day.
Well, no ult wasted, but Jalopis got wasted and is now coming back from spawn as his team right now not winning this fight. A rocket barrage by Ghost Bear into the face of a couple Legend Rocks with the help of Jalopis, able to eliminate him, but doesn't matter because they have to go and reset as their team was wiped prior to that. So a little bit overzealous maybe from Ghost Bear, but he's switching to Widow, so maybe that makes sense.
Ghost Bear giving up the ghost of Pharah, at least. This time going to be picking the sniper to better challenge Acronym, who has that barrage. Choke Pokers, everybody has an ultimate online. It's going to all come down to a question once again of order of operations. Mins, though, showing XGK that he's not the only gorilla on the block. A great Primal Rage kill onto the Soldier 76. Despite all of this, though, Panda Minion has provided an incredible amount of stall on the payload. It is just now moving towards the archway.
Just starting to now, but the good thing is Acronym got the rest of the kills that needed to stop anything else from happening. Panda Minion here on the Sombra, just being a pain. And Jalopis, I don't know if that was incidental or not, because there wasn't too much damage to him, it seemed like, but had to pop the Transcendent, so that's out of the fight here early, but his team capitalizing regardless, so it might not really matter that there wasn't a ton that happened when he popped it.
That's true. Jalopis was getting pressured there in the back by Pandaminion. The Sombra not going to be doing much except biting off a couple more seconds of time, but that's what Rocket Power want to get done here, as long as they can keep, oh, Pooty with the 2K.
Now the self-destruct counter on the other side by Legend Rocks doesn't get anything, so pushing forward and through into this next one in a moment, or not pushing forward, excuse me, will be Choke Pokers, as they'll have to regroup. Rocket Power stopping them short.
Yeah, Ghost Bear swapped off of the Widow onto the McCree, and now will be picking up his third hero of the map, that Reaper. And so the tanks from Choke Pokers definitely going to have a lot to think about, but this is excellent amount of stall. They just, as long as they can keep Choke Pokers from finishing out the map or finishing it with just a tiny time bank left, they have done their jobs, because they have over 3 minutes to finish out things in round 3.
So far, so good. Acronym will get one player out of mech, uses the Rocket Barrage after to get another on a Putty, but it doesn't matter because the rest of his team not having the same success. Pushing forward is Ghost Bear now on the Reaper, trying to take out Legend Rocks. Didn't quite do it, but now we'll get the Death Blossom, use it. Gets one at least in KLZ. This is enough to force back the rest of Choke Pokers.
This is really good ultimate usage. KLZ, those resurrections not instantaneous anymore, so spent so much time bringing in mins that she gave her life to Ghost Bear. And once again, Choke Pokers find themselves with a very small time bank to get anything done. The payload is tantalizingly close to that archway, but they have to make sure that they don't get split up as what happened in that last push. They need to make a full 6-man engagement with mins leading the way.
Jalopis on the Ana, already to 86%. It slept Rhyolite on the Mercy, but didn't get any follow-up onto it. Now the Primal Rage used here onto the point, and then a self-destruct thrown in over the top. Nothing for it for Putty, but Acronym finding Ghost Bear, finding another one on the yes, so the DPS down here, maybe a chance here with Diaper Mafia as well. EMP to try and equalize it out. Acronym still dealing out the damage with the Pharah though, and Legend Rock still moving that on. Pandaminion though trying to clutch things out for his team, getting Ghost Bear in as well, as they do finally clear things off. 10 seconds left to go, having to try and get back quickly here is Choke Pokers, but can they?
Oh, Jalop is the closest one there. He manages to get a toe on. He has to survive. Manages to stay alive long enough until for Mins to get there, but he takes a dip off the edge. Rocket Power have done it, man. Choke Poker is helping them a bit with that self-environmental kill, but they will be knocking their first win in this tonight's Best of 4 series.
So I have to ask for your thoughts there after that first one, Ham. Rocket Power getting the win. Choke Poker's looking good at times, but couldn't put it all together.
Yeah, Choke Pokers, you're right. All the puzzle pieces not forming a coherent picture this time around. You saw oftentimes their streets phase push really very split up. You saw that XGK was able to get a lot of value off of his Primal Rages because the supports were often completely away from the body of their tanks. They were off on an off angle. For example, when Jalopis swapped off onto that Ana, she was kind of trying to go for that long sightline, but what happened in the end was she was left isolated alone under that archway and prime Winston stomping target. However, this is just the first map. Choke Pokers, maybe they just don't quite favor the the hybrid.
It might be the case, and they're also making a change here. Choke Poker's Arkai is coming in. So we'll see if Arkai I don't know if it's Arkai or Arkai.
Arkai, maybe?
Yeah, I think maybe Arkai. Either way, 2CP, Temple of Anubis, looks like it's going to be our next map, potentially, as it is the host of our game is Diaper Mafia, and of course, that's the person in charge right now of choke pokers. So that could be our potential switch here as we go on to this next map. But thoughts for your first, from what you saw from Rocket Power? I know you said XGK was one of the things, but it seems like their DPS players as well made some pretty good space for that, Winston.
Absolutely. Every single member of Rocket Power. We can't forget Pootie's point B saving Diva self-destruct, threading the needle through that hole in the gateway to save the defense for his team. Everybody on Rocket Power is a threat. And so choke pokers may be playing very reactively, especially in terms of combating that Sombra. They had a good point A attack. They played really well, but when it came time to push the payload through Straits phase, their front line may be getting a little bit too ahead of themselves, oftentimes leaving their supports unguarded on the payload, where they had the unenviable task of dueling out that Sombra who has so much movement ability and is so incredibly evasive. So Rocket Power playing to the objective very well in the match, and choke pokers getting themselves routed. But
What do you?
moving into
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, but moving into Anubis, we do have to remember choke poker's great history on Horizon Lunar Colony against the unfortunate drunken monkeys. So maybe it's time for them to tie things up on a map type that really favors their playstyle.
It will be a second, though, as they are waiting on a sub who will be on in just a moment, but apparently they just disconnected. So
Aw.
we'll have to wait for them to come back. On the side of choke pokers, maybe they weren't ready for, I mean, not that it was an easy game for them, the last one, but Rocket Power definitely a team as far as cohesion, much different than what we saw from Drunken Monkey.
Absolutely, Rocket Power powering up there exponentially, you would even say, in terms of the coherency of their dives. You can tell that this is likely a team that's probably played together for quite some time and have these set plays, or at least strategies on how to approach both the attack and defense on certain maps. Eichenwald, when they got pushed onto Streets phase, it came down to just a couple of meters to defend point B. They didn't sweat it. They had that Diva Bomb in hand, and they knew where they wanted to land that ultimate. And it's probably going to be more of the same moving into Anubis, is my prediction. And I'd like to see maybe a little bit more long-range hit scan. Ghost Bear, he has been teasing so many DPS heroes. This guy has a huge hero pool. So if we can see a little bit of Widowmaker play, that would be really awesome.
So you're saying that Rocket Power, they're riders on a mission, action kids in play position? Is that what you're saying?
Labasco, you hurt me.
I'm sorry, it's from the theme song from Rocket Power. I had to do it. I had to.
I know, but that's just so great. Yeah. But you're right. I mean, 100%. Dude, have you, considered a career in marketing? You could write their theme song and their,
marketing.
team motto and everything. A Rocket Power. I was going to go the Pokemon route. Team Rocket blasting off again. But I think yours is even more fitting.
We'll go with the classic Nickelodeon show that they are named after. Gotta go that way. It's just the way to go. And it is Arkai is the name of the player, I believe, that we're waiting for too. Funny enough, they disconnected, and hopefully they'll be able to reconnect because they're the sub and they're who we're waiting for.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
Just hoping that will come into play. But regardless of, I need to not read as I'm talking because it's a really bad thing to do. Rocket Power with some cohesion as far as logos too. Will that make a difference?
There we go. They're feeling the heat, the moisture, the humidity. Want to be moist. They call them the Florida moistness. I'm just kidding. Everybody, they want to show their cohesion with their player icons as well. It's the entire experience. You got to live and breathe the game. And so everybody repping that the great palm tree grenade, palm tree bomb.
Well, it looks like Arkai will not be the one coming in. It looks like it's going to be somebody else instead, unless it's a different I think it was Zezrex is who we have instead.
Zezrex. You are correct. Going to be swapping out a DPS player here. Looks like they're going to see if perhaps they can try get a different combo going. I wonder what Zezrex plays. Maybe more projectile heroes. Junkrat, of course, always strong on the Temple of Anubis.
Well, showing so far Moira, so it looks like we will have Jalopis, who we saw playing the Zenyatta, go to the DPS role, and then we'll have KLZ, who is on the Mercy, go to the Zenyatta. So much different look as far as what roles players are playing here, Ham. And well, you have a couple of Red Jive in on the side of Rocket Power, looking like going to be playing the Junkrat. Rhyolite showing us Torbjorn, but Rhyolite, you've done this to us too many times. We know. We already know. We already know.
Cry the wolf, boy who cried wolf, man. You can't fool us. Watch as he actually peels out on the Torbjorn. I would just eat my hat. On the side of the defense.
The non-existent hat you're wearing.
Hey, I own hats. Okay, I could obviously procure a hat. I'm not gonna go crazy like Bren and want to say I eat my suit jacket. That's too much fiber. You're gonna be farting all day. But Choke Poker's going with a very traditional Anubis defense. Mins on the Orisa, Diaper Mafia on the Widowmaker. No surprises here. But on the side of Rocket Power, I like this. A very interesting dive composition. Panda Minion really enjoys that Sombra play, and he's going to be bringing it out again once more.
And Diaper Mafia set up where his team is, dealing out the damage on this Widowmaker. Jalopis finishing off Red Jive there. Rhyolite gets a shot off, but doesn't get the finish off onto Diaper Mafia as his team has to fall back here. So Rhyolite, who we were seeing on the Mercy, is now playing the Widowmaker. So a lot of interesting switches we're having here from either side.
Hey, maybe we didn't get the memo. It's game day. It's musical chairs for both of these teams. Interestingly, though, for the Choke Poker's defense, they are not on that high ground where we often see a Mei boosting the tanks onto the high ground perch for better sightlines for Diaper Mafia. It doesn't seem to matter, though. Min's just taking a quick nap on that bridge. As Rocket Power have made their way through that mega health pack, Diaper Mafia goes down. Panda Minion now has control of this point, and he'll be EMPing the objective.
Yeah, I don't know if he got anybody with it, but it doesn't really matter. His team getting the cleanup kills needed. Rhyolite gets Legend Rock popped out of Mech. A hack onto KLZ. Can't do anything there, and they're now going to start building up that percentage and get this first point.
Ooh, this is a fast point take for Rocket Power and Choke Pokers. No swaps here except Diaper Mafia will be fighting with that Reaper. I do like this DPS pick, very good against a Sombra. You know, that vanilla shotgun play, even if you don't have your cooldown abilities, Reaper is still a threat on the point. But Rhyolite has been finding headshot after headshot, takes out KLZ. This is prime moment for Rocket Power to dive in.
Backs away does Rhyolite after hearing a couple of ultimates go off. Self-destruct thrown onto the point. Doesn't get anything for Ghost Bear as he gets taken out from behind. Jalopis with the Riptire did take out Rhyolite, so they don't have to worry about that. And it looks like stabilizing finally will be Choke Pokers. Trying to run away is the Genji and Putty, and finally able to do so.
Rocket Power looked like they might wanted to have tried to use the momentum off of that point A push to take a fast capture, but they have been rebuffed for now, but Choke Pokers only have the Diva Bomb. That's going to be their only defense against both the EMP and the Dragon Blade, an extremely powerful combo. Rocket Power there, they were just going for that eco push. Pooty had swapped off onto the Genji early on, so this was the time to build his blade, and he's got it. Red Drive with that Nano Boost, going to be applying it right away.
Goes in, gets the quick kill onto Jalopis, looking for his second. Hasn't found anybody yet. Finally finds the Mercy instead. Self-destruct to try and keep it going. Does get the Ana and Red Drive, but Rhyolite there to try and continue cleaning things up. Supercharger put down in desperation. Legend Rock's the only one left on the point right now. Popped out of the mech, having to deal with too many on the side of the other team, but Jalopis coming back in along with Diaper Mafia to try and stall this one out. Maywall up to block off a couple of players, and they will stabilize once again. They don't even build up a tick here for the side of Rocket Power.
Choke Poker's playing this defense close but very effective. They definitely seem to thrive on assault type maps. You saw that Rocket Power had everything going for them coming in here. Ooh, even a late stagger onto Panda Minion. So there will be a window of opportunity when that pack down there will not be hacked for Choke Pokers. So a great time to try and capitalize off of the back of that. But regardless, Rocket Power, they're going to be coming in with their full force. Once again, Pooty will have yet another blade. The ultimate generation for this Genji has been insane. And you know what they say, if you don't succeed, try again. And it's likely going to be EMP into Dragon Blade once more.
2 support up, so Coalescence along with the Diaper Mafia, though, getting 2 with the Death Blossom, so doesn't even matter what's happening because he eliminates them quickly and forces back Rocket Power.
Rocket Power forced back, but they weren't too hasty. No fat fingers here. Everybody has very bony fingers, I suppose, would be the opposite of that. Nobody has used an ultimate, and they're going to have 6 online for this next push. Jalupus, though, if he can work up to that Blizzard, will have excellent zoning power on point B, but it's going to be in his hands as KLZ going to be extremely vulnerable to both the Blade and the EMP.
Self-destruct is what they throw in. First, it gets Bins early on, so 6-on-5 advantage as they decide to use the Pulse Bomb, and then eventually the Dragon Blade as well. Nothing from the Dragon Blade, but it does force players into the rest of the Rocket Power team, and they get a team kill, so they might be able to cap this all the way with 2:52 left, but Min's coming back early on. Diaper Mafia here as well to slow things down. Legend Rocks and a couple of his supports back in behind him to try and keep this one from getting capped. Still a little bit left to go, and the kill's not coming yet on either side, so it's allowing for the respawns to come back in for Choke Pokers. Choke Pokers continuing on to the point as they try to get in the damage. Min's now on there. The Blizzard used by Jalupus will get Red Jive, and the rest of his team starting to clean up, and they're starting to swing this back in favor with 2:15 left to go. Still fighting it out, though, is Rocket Power, but it's going to be a dead fight here for them now as trying to get away in the Diva suit and keeping it is Ghost Bear.
That was an incredible comeback from the brink of a loss. Choke Pokers with the combination of the Mei and their own Sombra just going all in on the evasiveness and mobility type heroes. Rocket Power just not quite able to focus them down quickly enough, but it's back to the usual. Min's back on the Orisa, and Diaper Mafia with that Pulse Bomb for his Tracer. Not going to catch anything right away. An EMP. Rocket Power not fooling around.
Not fooling around as well. Rhyolite got a Pulse Bomb kill onto Mins, and then Putty with his Dragon Blade gets 1, and then XKG and Red Drive cleaning everything else up, and they take this with 1:21 left to go in the time bank. So not a lot of time. The Choke Pokers were able to work that, whittle that down after a very first quick take. The Rocket Power still gets the job done that they needed to do.
Rocket Power, like the impending tide, crashing over and over against the dam of Choke Poker's defense. And Choke Poker's playing like that Dutch boy in the tail of the dike, trying to plug the holes, but unfortunately, in the end, you're going to run out of fingers, and Rocket Power bursting through the dam. And you can tell once again the cohesion from this team. They never lost sight of the goal or their strategy there over and over again. EMP into Blade, EMP into Blade. They know it's such a powerful combination. Choke Pokers themselves not really swapping off onto any different kind of heroes. So Rocket Power knows, hey, this time around, maybe we got, cleaned off. We took only 1 tick, but the next time it'll be another tick, and the next time it'll be another tick. And so great determination and sustain from the attacking side. The question will be, though, as we often see on assault type points, your offense is good, but how is the defense?
Of course, that's always the question. And when you look at it here for the side of Rocket Power, they are coming up with a defense here that is similar to what we maybe saw some of their other players run. Red Jive still on the Anna. Panda Minion is going to be on the Moira. Putty, who was on the Genji in the last, on the attacking round, playing Genji again. So they're sticking with things they know, and we've seen that works pretty well for them, Ham.
Absolutely. Choke pokers love them some meat, and it's going to be quad tank boosted onto the objective surely in very quick fashion. Rocket Power, if they're caught with their pants down unawares, they might just lose their backline very quickly, which will spell doom for their defense. Red Jive on that Ana Pandemonium on the Moira, as you mentioned, and so little Granny going to have to be looking to her tanks to protect her as the dive comes in.
She's going to look to have them protect her, but she's going to have to look to hit with that biotic grenade as well. And it looks like she got a pretty good one out there, but they couldn't capitalize too much on it. Now the kills start coming in, but onto the point storming went Choke Pokers. So Rocket Power having to come back in here and try and finish off what's left of these bulky tanks. XGK with 2 kills and a mech pop out, just shooting with that Orisa gun.
What do you think his accuracy is? I don't know, 30%, 35%. That's incredible coming out of a tank that you often think of as just, chip damage off of those big fusion cannons. But Orisa definitely making a big difference. The anti-nade from Red Jive as well. Choke Pokers couldn't even get underneath the bridge without getting whittled down to 30, 20% health. So they're in no fighting form to try and battle it out on the objective. Now, though, we do see some swaps. Jaluppa's not going to be stubborn, swapping off onto the Mercy this time around as Diaper Mafia picks up the Widow-making Sniper. Pooty as well onto the Reaper on the side of the defense, looking to chunk down the quad tank, but he probably wasn't expecting the Rocket Queen on the top.
Yeah, the couple of changes might make things change. What happens here? Whole Hog for it from Ghostberry does at least force the team back. Putty with the nano boost put onto him from the Ana going in here now. I don't think he has it. He's very close to the Death Blossom. He's not going to have to use it. Does plenty of work with the nano boost and gets the kills that are needed. And we'll just back away now as 2 minutes left to go here for Choke Pokers to try and win this second map.
Smart nano boost from Red Jive, as you said, helping Pooty work up to that Death Blossom so that they can defend in that next point, and also just getting the double duty done, warding away all of Choke Pokers. You can be the tankiest tank of them all, but you're not going to want to try and expose your face to a nano boosted Reaper shotgun. Now Min's getting hooked out. He's isolated from his team. The rest of them has gone through that left side, but oh, he manages to escape with his life.
Rhyolite, though, with the double pulse bomb kill, and Jalopis won with the Rocket Barrage, trying to swing things back in their favor, but Rocket Power holding on fine here as Rhyolite on the Tracer, continuing to eliminate, and Jalopis gets hit by a hook. That one hurts as another attempt fails from Choke Pokers.
Another failed attempt, and their time bank dwindling down a minute and change now for them to get something done. Jaluppas threw that barrage in the last fight. You saw what the strategy was, try and catch Rocket Power in that tiny hallway, but unfortunately it didn't get quite as much done as he would have hoped, and now he's only 30% to the next one. Gonna have to face this Orisa Battle Bongo.
On to the final moments here. Death Blossom used early on by Putty as the rest of his team following in after it to try and eliminate the rest. Jalupis along with Diaper Mafia trying to sneak around to the other side. See what Diaper Mafia tries to stay behind. Maybe here for the last push. Jalupis getting caught out though by Rhyolite. So going to have to figure out what they're going to do here.
Oh, this is going to be very difficult. Choke Pokers tried to take a different engagement, grab that high ground, but they were too slow. Played right into Pooty's hands, who was able to utilize those tiny hallways to his best ability and spray down all of the Choke Pokers team as they tried to struggle onto the objective. Now time is dwindling down. They have the Coalescence, they have the Valkyrie, but Jaluppas going down first is going to force KLZ to pop that ultimate early on.
And Diaper Mafia had stayed hidden. He was able to hide away from the Roadhog to keep and get onto the point and force this overtime, but now can his team capitalize it? They put the supercharger down here. The self-destruct thrown over the top. Coalescence, though, doing the work it needs. Rhyolite coming in here along with Putty, who was hit with a nano boost as they take the Orisa out. Not much left on the point here for the side of Choke Pokers. Jalupis gets pulled as he was using the Rocket Barrage, so nothing there. KLZ just trying to keep him up. Death Blossom used by Putty helps eliminate one, and the win goes for Rocket Power as they win map number 2 and are that much closer to advancing on and winning this group.
Jalupus going down in that last push was what broke Choke Poker's offense. You saw KLZ forced to pop that Valkyrie, but the positioning was just not safe enough. With that patch coming through for Mercy, the cast time for a resurrection was just too long. She couldn't risk it, which meant that Jalupus wasn't able to put any kind of DPS pressure on the point when it came down to it. The Orisa Battle Bongo from Mins supplementing just the Moira, and the Orisa not going to be enough to remove all of the members of the defense from Rocket Power. So great job there from the red team.
Moving on now, they get to go into the third map and now make it a deciding map. We've seen too that it was one of the Choke Pokers had a bit of struggles too on a control point map. So this is something right now, Ham, where it's looking very good for Rocket Power if they want to advance on.
Yeah, they're going to be powering through this set, very likely a 2-0 already for this team. And Choke Poker is not looking like their usual selves. They came off of a very dominant 4-0 win against Drunken Monkeys, but they've had their work cut out for them against Rocket Power. And I think it all comes down to, once again, the cohesion. Diaper Mafia, of course, a great DPS player. Not to mention all the rest of his team. But unfortunately, you need a little bit more than this, the individual mechanical skill. You have to be able to put it all together, because the team, really, you want to try and transcend just the sum of their parts. Reach, team synergy nirvana.
So
No
would you say,
Zenyatta's needed.
right? Would you say what's impressed you the most then about Rocket Power is their ability to play as a team, their synergy?
Absolutely one of their strongest powers, along with the other aspects, including the individual mechanical skill. But before we head into Lijiang Tower, which is queued up next, we will be taking a little bit of a halftime break. I do need to use the bathroom, so you can blame me, guys, but I want to be able to cast with my head in the game, yo. So I will be right back after a quick break.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back.
Ben? Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
Yep, we are back indeed. And thank you guys for your patience. We're back and ready to hop into our third map of this best of 4 series, and it's going to be Lijiang Tower. Now, Labosco, we did see previously that Control Center is a map type where choke pokers have shown a lot of dominance, so this might just swing the pendulum back in their favor.
Entirely possible. They did struggle, though, on this map type, so that's something I think you have to be wary of as well here, Ham. Do you think this plays to some of their strengths, or does it not?
I do think it could play to their strengths if we get, some of that tank action going on the objective, force Rocket Power to fight them on their own turf, on their terms. That might be where choke pokers can utilize their ultimates to great effect. It's oftentimes, I feel, out in these very open areas that those ults get kind of tossed out willy-nilly, maybe to not the best value possible. So perhaps the map type will play into choke poker's hands.
We will see how they can deal with this team in Rocket Power, who has looked good through 2 maps. And as we see the picks coming in here from either side, it seems like, well, we're not going to see too much of a change from what we've seen from Rocket Power. Just, pretty standard for what we've seen from them so far.
Yeah, Pooty once more on the Cyber Ninja, Rhyolite on that Tracer. It's going to be a bit of 2-2-2 dive. Red Jive going to be tasked with healing up his entire team, though the flanking DPS, of course, will have access to all of Panda Minion's hacked packs. Choke Poker on the other side, though, going 100% into that hit scan. Jalupus on the McCree, this time Diaper Mafia, once again repping his signature Reaper. As both teams taking different routes to get onto the objective, Choke Poker is going to have this defensible position first.
Yep, looking to fight on the point is Choke Pokers, who is in the red right now. In the blue is Rocket Power, and kills on either side, but Rhyolite and Putty, the DPS duo, doing the work that they need to get the early advantage on to Rocket Power. Legend Rocks popped out of the mech, and it's just him and Moira, and on the point as of right now, as coming back in are the tanks for the side of Rocket Power to finally start and build this up into their favor. Putty with 2 kills. KLZ trying to sneak and maybe do a res, but that's just going to be a death here for Putty or KLZ eventually by XGK.
Yeah, the Mercy has been a bit of a liability for choke pokers, especially on this map type where there's a lot of close quarters fighting going on. She is going to stick with it, however, as Jalupus has swapped onto the attacking Pharah. Very interesting because she's not a hero that we often see brought out against these flanking style DPS who have a lot of mobility and are hard to pin down in even the best of circumstances.
Yep. Flying from above, trying to get some damage put out is Jalupus, but Putty with the Dragon Blade will get the early kill to start off. It's the second on the Mins, looking for a third, but not going to find it. But Coalescence will help out and get the next one, forcing back Choke Pokers into their own spawn. Rocket Power dominant looking here.
Rocket Power, absolutely. They're pressing their advantage, and Panda Minion really pushing his luck here, but he has the translocator ready. 70% to yet another EMP. Pooty found choke pokers exactly where he wanted them in that tiny hallway. He couldn't pick up a third, but he didn't need to, as Red Jive had his DPS's back. Now choke pokers, Mins on the Reinhardt will be able to provide a little bit more shielding to Diaper Mafia, but he's going to be working just to protect that Reaper, as Pharah, as you can see, not going to be able to make use of that shield. Nonetheless, choke poker is going to be trying to force the man advantage on the objective.
Forcing it onto the objective right where they have Diaper Mafia with a death loss. And Rhyolite did get the pulse bomb kill on the KLZ as that happened, but it looks like it's not going to matter here. But he's trying to get this Reinhardt out of the way, does eventually get the kill along with Diaper Mafia. but can his team hold on to the point here? A lot of players on the point for Rocket, or for Choke Pokers. It does hit 99% though for Rocket Power, and they're going to be able to stabilize here and perhaps get the eventual win as they eliminate the rest of Choke Pokers. And it's back with the Earth Shatter. Does get a couple, but nothing for it as Putty had used the Dragon Blade to finish everything else off.
Celebratory tube trance from Red Jive. You know, sometimes you just gotta dance, man. But Choke Pokers really getting their momentum choked off. Oh, that was terrible. Well, I regret that phrase. Okay, sorry about that. But regardless, you saw that Jalupus really handicapping himself by choosing to go onto the Pharah. We all know that a defensive position for Pharah is so much easier than trying to make inroads with the Rocket Queen. She's not really able to lend her body to the fight on the objective, and the synergy between her and her other DPS have to be on point. This time around, though, neither side will be taking to the air. It's all going to be about the ground game, as Choke Pokers going to be putting Jalupus on that Junkrat. Diaper Mafia for the first time picking up the D.Va off tank. And on the side of Rocket Power here, not really any surprises. The only thing will be Ghost Bear also on that counter Junkrat, but Pandaminion really doesn't want to give up that Sombra pick, and why would you? It's been working beautifully so far. Going to be great to get rid of all of the shielding and defense matrix coming out from Choke Pokers, and nobody has been able to find an answer to Pooty at all.
Yep, as he has taken 2 kills, now a third onto Diaper Mafia in this initial fight, trying to escape with his life, and not going to do so. It looks like, he just gets out, does Mins. It was very close to losing his life.
Yeah, that's the thing. Choke Poker is having such a hard time shutting down any of the members of Rocket Power. You can say that Jalupus Junkrat has the ability to cut off all of those flanking routes for Pooty, but he doesn't even need to take those back rooms as his tanks have made so much space for him. Ghost Bear's Tyre not going to be picking up anything, but Choke Pokers have yet to make their way out of this hallway, and all the while, Rocket Power have been ticking up in point percentage.
Use the EMP here as the Dragon Blade starts to go in. Putty gets 1 now, 2 finds a third with that as the self-destruct to try and counter it here. Rhyolite trying to and can't do so, and neither can Red Jive as they miss a couple there. And now it'll be an opportunity here onto the point, coming on here to take it back for Choke Pokers as they finally recap it, about 50% built up for Rocket Power.
Oh, that was a beautiful D.Va self-destruct. Diaper Mafia coming in clutch for his team. Rocket Power had already eliminated a few members of Choke Pokers, but that D.Va self-destruct doing more than to even up the odds. Graviton Surge, though, out now. KLZ pops a preemptive Valkyrie in response, but that might just be playing into Rocket Power's hands here, as they now know that support ultimate isn't on the line, and this Junkrat Tire can find Pay Dirt, takes down both Legends and Zezarex.
And Diaper Mafia already out of the mech. A couple players left alive for Choke Pokers. Pandaminion coming over the top, trying to get the hack out. Cold Lessons used here by Red Jive, trying to get Mins down as they're building this back up. Response with the Earth Shatter by Mins doesn't get anything as Ghost Bear finds 2 and flips it back in favor of Rocket Power.
Yeah, great hack as well from Pandaminion onto Mins without that shield. Reinhardt's basically just a big metal ult battery. And now Choke Pokers find themselves on the back foot once again. One glimmer of hope, though, is Legend Rocks. He's 91% to that Graviton Surge, but he's gonna have to save it as the Earth Shatter comes out, comboed with that EMP. Great charge as Pooty unleashes his blade as well.
Putty has been getting a massive amount of value out of the Dragon Blade. Did get taken out there, and this actually might be a chance here as they push forward for Choke Pokers. Even though they had a couple of limbs, that's the only problem when you push up in towards where that spawn is. And now the counter starts to build again for Choke Pokers.
There we go. Signs of life yet. We can see that Control Center much more favored for this Choke Pokers team. And Legend Rocks has been able to hold onto that Graviton Surge throughout the fight. Rhyolite, though, has his own here. So it's going to be the question of the dueling Black Holes.
We'll see whose Graviton Surge can get more value. Ghost Bear just using his Riptire right there, not looking for the combo, but it's not going to matter. His team's finding what they need. They got both tanks out of the way. Legend Rocks does get Red Jive, though, so the Valkyrie popped here by the side of Choke Pokers, and they get a couple of extra kills off of the Graviton Surge from Legend Rock. So 84%, 85, and having to try and regroup right now is Rocket Power.
Choke Pokers have just now eclipsed Rocket Power's point percentage take. Rocket Power have the ultimate advantage, but they need to get onto the point in order to use them. Rhyolite, though, has held onto his own Graviton Surge. There's not going to be very much counterplay other than a Diva Eat, and it's not going to happen when you've gotten EMP'd.
Yep, EMP out as the Graviton Surge used. So far, so good, though, for Rocket Power. 99% built up, though, for Choke Pokers as they trying to force this to go to a third map. Self-destruct thrown on top, but quickly blocking it is XGK. His team continuing to push forward. Need to get the final eliminations here. XGK fell to Diaper Mafia. Riptire out, not able to get anything with it, though, as Jalupus, as Rhyolite was able to take it out. Bigger Shatter gets 2 down, though, here, as that counter's still going, but not enough follow-up here, as it looks like eventually taking it back is Rocket Power.
Oh, Pooty's been so incredibly deadly. He has such insane survivability on this Genji. As I say that, though, Caster cursed him. He walks to his death, eaten up by a trap. But half of the battle as a Genji is just staying alive, watching out for those points where you can get that smooth dash through to finish off those kills, and he has been putting on a masterclass so far. Overtime is down now. Both teams trying desperately to win things out, but Panda Minion gonna have that EMP to combo with the blade in just a second once again.
Looking for that combo, 99% to 99% here, trying to stay alive is Choke Pokers. EMP used, Dragon Blade out, getting one. Looking for another one is Putty, as he does. Diaper Mafia, though, able to get Panda Minion. Coalescence out from Red Jive, try and finish this off. Jalup is coming back in on the Doomfist to try and keep his team in it. Misses with both. Self-destruct over the top, can't get anything for it, as it's still in favor right now of Rocket Power, trying to eliminate the last couple left here as they look to try and take this final map.
Coalescence desperately trying to keep the Diva up there if Legend Rocks can get in. He has a Graviton Surge, but no, the Earth Shatter answers back. XGK sealing the deal for his team. Rocket Power wins Lijiang Tower.
What a map, though, we had, Ham, especially there on that final one, back and forth, 99%. But the win is eventually going to go to Rocket Power, and they win now 3-0.
Yeah, we saw that a last-second Graviton Surge. All that did was make sure that the enemy team would be in on the objective to make sure it casts out. So it was a last desperation ultimate. But not really finding the correct targets at the correct time. We really saw that it was kind of an ultimate battle back and forth. Neither of the Junkrats really able to make a big dent in their teams. It came down to both the Zarya play and the Reinhardt and Diva stalling potential. And Rocket Power had that in spades, especially with the great survivability of Pooty buying so many seconds for those slow tanks to get back onto the point to reinforce.
Yeah, and I mean, for Choke Pokers, they have to be happy there for the final map, but just a much better test for them here in this second matchup for them in these Sunday scrims. There's no doubt about that, and I mean, Rocket Power, they've looked really good here.
Yeah, definitely Rocket Power really showing themselves to be the stronger team thus far in this set. And although they have won the series and will be moving on, we will be playing out our fourth map. It will just be for pride, but people have gone to war for less.
That's very true. That is extremely true, actually. So looking at Route 66, what is it we should expect here, Ham, from these two teams? I mean, I don't think you're going to see much of a change from either of them.
Not really. Both sides doing really well with the compositions that they have been running. If nothing else, I would like to see Choke Pokers maybe go on to a more cohesive, be a little bit more cohesive with their DPS duo. On Lijiang Tower, we saw kind of a whole bevy of heroes being paraded out. We saw Jalupus on a Pharah, Diaper Mafia on a Reaper with a Reinhardt. You know, that's something that you probably don't really want to see because the Reinhardt is really only there to protect the Reaper. The Pharah will be entirely alone in the sky. You're not getting a whole lot of worth out of that shield. But early on, at least, Choke Poker is going to be showing mins on the Winston. This is actually a tank hero that we haven't seen a lot off of this player because he really seems to prefer the shield tanks, both the Reinhardt and the Orisa. But Route 66, as with many hybrid and escort maps, it's all about the verticality. So I do like this more mobile look from Choke Pokers.
Definitely different. We've seen them at times run some very tank-heavy comps, and it's good to get that practice in on using more mobile compositions as well. And Route 66 against a very good team in Rocket Power, a good thing to try, but Rocket Power being very sneaky right now, and I don't think anybody has a chance to even see what they're doing on the side of Choke Pokers.
Oh boy, somebody get a mop because this is likely going to be a bloodbath. Rhyolite on the Bastion, Pooty ready to defend his fellow DPS with that Reflect. Ghost Bear going to be looking to hook out any of those early members as we open up onto spawn. Nobody sees them, yo! There's a Widow right on top of them.
And they get pulled in by the halt, and it's instant 3 gone from the side of Choke Pokers. Rocket Power, their initial push here, Ham, working out really well, and having to just get back together and just figure this out is the rest of Choke Pokers.
Oh man, that's just kind of sums up the entire game. Diaper Mafia got into a 1v1 duel with that old Egyptian granny Red Jive's Ana, and he just decided to take himself off of the cliff. Why not? But now Panda Minion, once again on this Sombra, stalling out the cart, just being so incredibly annoying. That little mite mosquito buzzing in your ear, forcing Choke Pokers to look back when they want to be trying to look forward to push the cart.
Lot of damage coming out here still from this Bastion, and trying to find the Winston. Finally does take him out. They do at least get around that corner is the good thing. Halt thrown out there to try and combo, and then pulling up from above is the Roadhog and Ghost Bear, and he's just going to go back and away. And now Red Jive so dangerously close to being taken out and hasn't been healed yet.
Oh, well, I mean, poor Granny can only heal herself. Strong, independent women don't need no other healers. She couldn't have risked her positioning to go for a hacked pack from Panda Minion, but she does manage to stay alive, and they've built a bevy of ultimates. Ghost Bear actually goes down early, so no whole hog for him, got shut down there, but the Dragon Blade is still in Pooty's back pocket. Red Jive going to be looking to give him the juice once it's go time.
And it was used as well, so not even any opportunities to maybe get a second chance at it. Now coming out the Riptire, Jalopis finding one in Rhyolite. Somehow the Ana was able to get away, though, in Red Jive, but eventually Red Jive was taken out, and now stabilizing here and getting a good push going is Choke Pokers.
There we go, but an expensive fight for them. They'll only have that Diva Self-Destruct moving into Streets phase, whereas Rocket Power have saved that Nano Blade as well as the EMP to pave the way for their Genji. Rhyolite goes down early too, a bit of Junkrat damage though. Rocket Power have to be careful that they don't get too complacent in their early lead. Every meter matters, and Choke Pokers have 4 minutes to try and finish out point B.
Having to try and finish this here, a lot of time. Getting pulled in though was the Winston early on in Mins. Mins not able to stay up though. Diaper Mafia will find Panda Minion though, and Putty finding Jalopis, so it's even on either side. Panda Minion going in with the nano boost, but a good counter to it. Great timing by KLZ on the Zenyatta, completely denies it. XGK does happen to find Diaper Mafia though in all of that, and now uses the Whole Hog.
Whole Hog not going to get much from Ghost Bear. He's not really able even to blow the attackers off of this point, as although XGK able to get a couple of kills, Mins answers back with his own 2k from his Tickle Cannon. Now the two Winstons going to be battling out here on the high ground. Choke Pokers look strong here on Route 66. They have ultimates to spare, and Rocket Power getting a little bit sloppy in their execution here. I'd like to see if maybe they can get some more of those combos going once again that we saw to great effect, but they will be warded away by Jalupus's Riptire. They'll likely be giving up this point B, save those ultimates for the point 3 defense. Pandaminion trying to get a bit of stall here, but yep, gonna save the EMP for another day.
Yep, just stalling it out as Ghost Bear coming back in, Pandaminion as well. They're stalling it out pretty good here towards the end. Ghost Bear finally eliminated, and now finally you're going to, well, in a moment you're going to see it, but still stalling it out. And not finally taken out was Rhyolite, so very good stall tactics used there by Rocket Power.
Yep, it's all about the time game here. Pooty gonna be trying to work up to yet another Dragon Blade in this fight. Rocket Power actually choosing to defend with these dive tanks. Oftentimes we see more of that heavy shield composition to take up the entire width of this warehouse hallway, but XGK does have that Primal Rage. He's been very good and accurate with his jumps so far, so why not? EMP out immediately on the payload.
As you said, the EMP coming out, but they haven't gotten too much for it yet. There's actually quite a bit happening really on either side. So just backing away here for a moment is Rocket Power. They still have their team up though, and trying to keep it that way as both teams have kind of backed off here.
Both teams, you know, gentlemen's handshakes. They decide that they're going to re-engage the next time around. Diaper Mafia this time will have that Reaper. I love this pick, especially in this third point. Everything is so close. Even a Genji can't really be standing up against those shotguns. As I say that, though, once again, caster cursing Diaper Mafia. All the rest of the team eats a fat nade, and the zoning Diva Bombs will be fighting out to see who will pick up the kills. Oh!
Well, 2 go to the side of Choke Pokers as they try to continue this on. Min's finding one with the Primal Pages, but it's not going to matter because they're not able to get onto this cart. There's still a couple players left alive for Rocket Power with 2:15 left to go.
It's not a big time bank. It's so incredibly difficult to finish out this map once you get this far. KLZ, though, has the trance. Pooty with that blade. Once again, it will be DPS versus support player. Who will win out, the sword or enlightenment?
Flanking around and coming now to try and get somebody as Diaper Mafia. Mins will get one. Jumping back in towards his own team to try and peel was Mins, but it's GK and Putty had done the damage already. And now we'll look to wipe out the rest that's left of is just kind of waiting a second before taking out Legends Rock's Ex-GK.
EMP charged.
Indeed, both of these teams, you can tell that they've learned from their previous mistakes. Choke Poker is not throwing out those ultimates willy-nilly. They're trying to bank up a few for that overwhelming team-wiping fight to finish out this map. But they've gotten routed thus far. Once again, though, Min's going to be leaping onto the high ground. When will Pooty choose to release this blade? It's going to have to be escorted by this EMP, most likely. But they might just go with that vanilla hack onto Legends Rocks.
Riptire coming out here from Jalopis, finds Pandaminion as his team makes a couple of other eliminations as well. Coalescence to try and finish it off. Does get Putty, who couldn't use the Dragon Blade. A little bit of a late transcendence there on the side of Poke Chokers as they continue forward. There are some good ults to work with, though, here. If they can stabilize, Rocket Power might have a chance to get them right off. 30 seconds left to go here. Pushing forward is Ghost Bear onto Mins, who tries to jump back to his team. Dragon Blade out here looking, can't find the Junkrat, as staying alive was Jalopis, and continuing forward, finding Red Dot Jive, but can't get the bombs to hit. Gets a little bit of help from the rest of his team. The self-destruct got led from Legend Rocks, got one as well, as XGK comes out onto the Orisa to try and stall.
It's going to all be for naught. Junkrat going to be donating his body to the heaping mound here on the payload as Choke Pokers look to push this through into third. Overtime is ticking down, and their reinforcements are fading thin and fast for the side of Rocket Power. There we have it. Jalep is cleaning up with 2, and Choke Pokers will be finishing out Route 66 with all 3 points.
And they got it when 0.0 was on there, and the overtime meter had started, though, so the most time that they'll get is a minute if Rocket Power finishes this off.
But that was an incredible amount of sustain coming in from choke pokers. You would think that maybe the endurance and stamina wearing a little bit thin from these teams. Rocket Power definitely looking a little bit off of their form. You saw that they had many opportunities to combo both the Nano Boost, EMP, and Dragon Blade in those last seconds, but it was either Panda Minion getting taken down early, Pooty going in without the support of the rest of his team, getting his blade shut down, all kinds of these small unforced errors that added up to their to the fall of their defense for Rocket Power. So I wanna see them shake off the jitters a little bit, put down the controllers, start playing with mouse and keyboard, because we know that Rocket Power have the ability to combo those ultimates, bring that team synergy, and even if they don't make any swaps to their team composition, I believe they can take us to a round 3 here.
What would you say was the biggest thing from Rocket Power that do you think it was just overconfidence maybe because they already know they've won, they 3-0? Do you think that was the biggest factor?
Definitely. It's a slight loosening of the mind game, I suppose you might call it. Rocket Power definitely. I mean, they're having a little bit of fun. And what is a competitive esport without, some relaxation times, pulling out that rocket, that Bastion strat in the train car, definitely maximum entertainment points. But when it came down to it, they lost their footing a little bit. Some of the polish that we previously slipping away. But they still have their own attacking round. If they can push this into 3 points themselves, they will have a chance to win this out 4-0.
And Ham, it's so hard to stabilize too when you do something like that and then it fails. And the snowball starts. It's really hard to stop that snowball as it goes downhill. And they eventually did, but it took a lot to do it.
A lot of hard hero swaps from the side of Rocket Power. But this time around, they're rolling out with a pretty sturdy composition. No surprises, Panda Minion once again on that Sombra. Rhyolite, though, on the Widowmaker, so going to have his work cut out for him dueling up against Diaper Mafia. Neither of those Widows have been able to land a decisive headshot. As I say that, of course, Rhyolite finds Jalapis, and although he goes down to Diaper Mafia with 2! That's incredible accuracy from that red Widowmaker there, and although they're forced off of Big Earl's, going to be giving a lot of space, may have just won a little bit of breathing room for the defense to regroup before this payload gets to point A.
It's funny how you can get some really good picks if you're Diaper Mafia, but your team still has to back out and allow the payload to continue forward. And here Mins gets pulled in by Ghost Bear, then uses a whole hog right in Mins' face, and Diaper Mafia getting a little bit of that whole hog as well, along with a very angry Gorilla jumping in after him. So it looks like this is going to be a very quick push with 5 minutes on the board here for Rocket Power. So like you said, Ham, they're starting to get back into their groove.
Yep. Indeed, Ghost Bear. I just love that whole hog. You get some scrap, and you get some scrap. Now an interesting positioning from both of the tanks of Rocket Power in the saloon, looking to see what they can get done. Choke Pokers, they have something of a spread defense. They have the Orisa on the ground, whereas Diaper Mafia on that Widowmaker is trying to force the sightlines on that catwalk. A very dangerous proposition, though, as she's not going to get much protection from the team. Both sides have a lot to fight for, but Rhyolite going to have to ponder what he's doing with his life as he gets sent back to respawn.
Couple of players are going to have to do that in just a second as Zezrex gets Panda Minion, Ghost Bear, and Putty combining for 2, but trying to stabilize back out is Choke Pokers. Not able to get healed yet, gets slept as Legend rocks, but now we'll finally get a nice heal, though, as he's sleeping, as having to back out was Rocket Power.
Rest up, Legend rocks. You did good there. Get some nap time in. We do see a swap from Rocket Power, a couple of swaps. XGK on the Orisa, Rhyolite picking up his own Tracer. Forget the Widow 1v1, don't need it. Red Jive, though, might be cursing that Widowmaker's name. Why weren't you countering her? As the Ana gets sent back to respawn. So Rocket Power losing a lot of players early on, getting staggered quite heavily. So this just means more free time for Choke Pokers to hold their defense here. If they can keep Rocket Power from finishing out the map, they've already done their job.
And so far, so good. 3:15 left to go. We know that the time bank was out for choke poker, so as much time as they can take off. Obviously, they want to stop him before this point, but the more time you take off, the better. This is one of the hardest points to keep. Supercharger, though, out here from Min to try and keep things in their favor. Panda Minion, though, quickly taking out that Supercharger, eliminating its usefulness. Doesn't matter, though. Rhyolite getting an early kill out here. Jalopis getting one with the visor, though. Legend Rocks coming in, finds another one as a halt will pull them up into the air, but it's probably not going to matter. EMP out and a self-destruct, not finding anybody there. Oh, finds one actually from in Putty. Coalescence here to just maybe stall as much as possible from Zurex, but not going to do a whole lot here. Is now maybe in a disadvantageous position as Zurex and gets eliminated by Putty.
Yeah, a very back and forth fight here, but of course, Rocket Power, as you can see, winning out in the end. Choke Poker is also, that was a very expensive fight for them. Not going to have any kind of support ultimates ready for this next third point push. So Ghost Bear, he has the opportunity to make hay with that opening. He has the Roadhog ultimate on the ready. He might be dueling out with Legend Rocks, but not if he gets taken down. Oh, with that so incredibly low, manages to stay alive there with the help of Zezarex. And Rocket Power just content to poke back and forth, play the shield war as they escort the payload around the corner. They'll likely be looking to leverage that whole hog perhaps into an EMP in just a second.
Well, the whole hog is what comes out first, finds one by Ghost Bear, and then looks for a second one and pulls that off the ledge in KLZ to keep this cart from moving as it's 250 left to go here. Respawn's coming back in. Jalopis has been on this, had switched on to this Tracer after the point was lost and using that visor. See if any value can come out of the pulse bomb that's just built up. Looking for a place to go, gets it onto XGK, but was able to stay alive through it. Self-destruct doesn't get anything, but Panda Minion in there with the EMP. They get a couple of kills. Vince has got the purple on her and then gets into a double kill because she walked back into Zurex, who was coming out of spawn, and it looks like that Rocket Power is going to finish this one with 3:19 left to go, so a 2-minute and 19-second advantage.
And that's going to be all the advantage Rocket Power need, most likely. Mins, you need one of those beeping tail lights, beep, 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 for when you back up and let everybody know you got stuck with that pulse bomb, because that was a doozy. Rhyolite, I mean, in the end, that pulse bomb was kind of just the cherry on top of a beautifully won team fight, but even so, choke pokers, it's all about Rocket Power, it's all about winning with style, man. It's making a statement there, which they did full and well.
Winning with style, sort of like falling with style. That's what comes to mind when I hear that. I think of Buzz Lightyear, and that's a stylish dude, that's for sure.
For sure. Reach for the sky. Nobody going to be taking to the sky on either side, though, in round 3. All about the ground game. Pharah is not really a preferred hero. We don't see her very often, if at all, maybe just for the point A. But Choke Pokers and Rocket Power are going to be more than content to try and duke it out in the dirt. But interesting swap. Putty going to be trying his hands on the 76 this time around. No Genji for him. And he's passed that baton, apparently, to the side of Choke Pokers. Diaper Mafia, he will be swapping off of the hit scan onto this Cybernetic Ninja.
And we'll see what he can do as that, since it's going to be our first time here. I think he might have spotted that there is a Widow in Rhyolite. We'll see if anybody sees them. Rhyolite missing on the first shot that he takes, but that's okay. His team is still set up in a good position, pulling in the Lucio too, and Putty will get the elimination off of it. But a good combo there. Has one player not able to heal two in the Winston.
And a really unusual defensive positioning for Rocket Power in this tiny hallway. They're looking to exploit the Orisa shielding. Instead of setting up on big Earls, just turn that lower mine into a tunnel of death. And they've been doing this perfectly. 17 seconds now for Choke Pokers to try and find something. If they can push this payload even a couple more meters, they'll be patting themselves on the back, but it is down to the line now.
5 seconds left to go. Can they get back onto it? Rhyolite looking for the eliminations here on that Widowmaker. Does take out Jalopis. Diaper Mafia, though, will find Rhyolite afterwards, but EMP comes out from Panda Minion right onto the top. as not able to do much in that Diva mech right now is Legend Rocks, is quickly taken out of it. Does have the self-destruct. He got pulled in! He got pulled in by the Roadhog, and that being a quadruple kill. Oh my goodness. Talk about a mistake made on the side of Rocket Power. Ghost Bear, the one pulling that in, and he's regretting that now.
Oh my god. And the award for best play of the game facilitator goes to Ghost Bear! Jesus Christ. I don't think even Legend Rocks was expecting that Diva Bomb to have as big of an impact. But good news for Rocket Power. They're defending so close up. They're going to get another shake at this. But not if Diaper Mafia has anything to say for it. He pulls out his blade, gets taken down before he can get more than one. But that might be all his team needs.
Well, it's still fairly even on either side. Ghost Bear will get the whole hog here, but it's not getting any results for it. Out comes the Primal Rage as well, and then the stick gets onto Legend Rocks. Not going to matter here as they get eliminated, and they will push through this point. Of course, if they take one step off, it will be all over for Choke Pokers.
That's right, they can't take even a toenail off of the objective, but from the side, but the good thing is momentum is on their side. The only thing Rocket Power will have is one nano boost to their name. And Pandaminion now going to be sweating a little bit. He needs to generate that EMP quickly, put a stop to this payload. All eyes will be on him as Red Jive gets taken out really early by a great pulse bomb.
So Jalupis keeping this, helping his team keep this one going as they come around. The thing to watch out for here, you do have a nano boost, but Legend Rock's going to get another self-destruct here. We'll see if there can be that sort of magic we see on the last one for Legend Rocks.
Ghost Bear though gonna be a lot more cautious with his before smashing that hook button, but might not matter as we see the nano boost now applied to XJC. XGC EMP laid on top, so that Tickle Tesla cannon going to be getting maximum damage here. Trades going back and forth fairly evenly, but Ghost Bear has the answering whole hog. And with that, he might just be able to help his team stabilize, but it's looking very difficult. And now Diaper Mafia with the blade.
Trying to cut through XGK, who's in that Primal Rage mode. Not quite able to do it, but still alive as Diaper Mafia did get the eliminations that maybe would help, and his team ends up coming off as Putty came back in to help finish things off. So they do get a pretty long push, though, Ham, after what seemed like was going to be a very short one.
Yeah, the Choke Poker is definitely getting a huge helping hand, or a helping hook, as you might call it, from Ghost Bear to facilitate their point A take. But Rocket Power stumbling a little bit, but picking themselves up, dusting themselves off. I really like the way they held that defense. They knew that they didn't want to feed any kind of ultimate charge into Choke Pokers. Wait until you have a full 6-man defense. Everybody's set up there. They're using the building to hide from the sightlines of Choke Pokers. Dive in with decisiveness. Pandaminion lays down that EMP, and then the rest of it is history.
Even though they have 319, it's going to be a very difficult take, though, for the side of Rocket Power. Ham. The focus here, obviously, is going to be this first point. I think if they can get this first point, I think that they have a very good shot of completing this if they can do this one quick.
Absolutely, and Rocket Power has been nothing if not great at their offensive pushes. Always able to win out in the time bank against Choke Pokers. So on the side of the defense, though, Red team looking to see if they can throw a wrench in the expected composition. Diaper Mafia on the Doomfist. Woo! Doomfisto. I like to see these kind of strange and unique comps. He's gonna have his work cut out for him, though, staying alive in the midst of the enemy when he charges in there, because Zezarex and KLZ both are not going to be able to supply a lot of long-distance healing. So Diaper Mafia are going to have to be playing cautiously as the respawns favor the attacking side so strongly. You can't afford to lose a single member on this defense.
And Rhyolite had used a Sonic Arrow, too, to see that they were in there. So they had a little bit of a scouting knowledge to know that's where they should look at, that's where people are going to be coming from. But Diaper Mafia getting in and getting the kill that he needs, looking for his next one, but he gets eliminated there, but it's not going to matter because his team did the work that was needed to hold on through this first push.
Diaper Mafia getting in, couldn't get out though, but no matter, KLZ there with the res to bring him back up, and so far Doomfist working out very well for the defensive side. KLZ actually manages to take down Panda Minion. Was going to say though, this is a weakness of this defense. Doomfist is nothing without his cooldowns. So Panda Minion has an inherent advantage here as long as he can stay alive before the engagement goes down.
The important thing though, this might be a good place for him to use it because there's a couple of players, but Jalop is being preemptive here with the Riptire, sending it out right away and gets 2, so that will stall things a little bit more.
There we go. Defense playing this really intelligently. They're not just resting on their laurels. They're pushing ahead, taking advantage of any kind of opening that they see. Rocket Power going to be more than content to reset once again. They have their strategy. The EMP is ready. Panda Minion just letting all of his teammates know, I got the EMP, man. Pooty really close to this Dragon Blade. This might be the team wiping ultimate they're looking for.
And the early kill on to KLZ, supports down quickly, and Putty coming in getting hit with the nano boost, getting kills, and didn't even have to use the Dragon Blade with it too. So his team did the work they needed to do, and they're going to be able to push around now. Maybe one more defense will happen afterwards, but a good stall behind by Mins, who was able to get back onto the payload here. 60 seconds left, and trying to make their way back on and in will be Choke Pokers after they regroup, but they've got to hurry if they want to try and get one more defense in before the point gets captured.
Pooty, that was the best outcome the Genji could have hoped for. He gets to save his blade for the next fight. Defense, though, playing things smart. They're not going to be feeding any more. They know all they need is a clean team wipe, so they'll be looking to bank ultimates. There will be a Meteor Strike and that Valkyrie coming in quite soon. That Resurrection Power could be the slight advantage that Choke Pokers need to put a stop to this payload's progress.
The only thing that's bad is Rhyolite getting that pick on a Jalopis early on, who was very close to a Riptire, so he's out of this initial fight. That's a lot of damage that's gone. Now how do they capitalize on it? Putty will get Diaper Mafia, so things early in their favor. EMP is out as well to help them get the next couple of eliminations. Dragon Blade used here, and they will keep this cart moving as it's Red Jive still on it. They need to get a third person on that cart moving as fast as possible. One more team fight's going to be the difference here. You're going to have the nano boost back for Red Jive too in it. So 4 alts on one side, 3 on the other to determine who's going to win this 4th and final map. Just gathering themselves up and together and trying not to get eliminated as Choke Pokers. Here comes the Riptire as it's coming around from above, looking for somebody with it, and Jalopis will get XGK. Supercharger placed down here by Mins. Still needs some extra off of it. Jalopis with another Ghost Bear does get Legend Rocks out of the mech though, but it looks like it might not be enough here as that overtime counter is ticking down. Just Panda Minion left, and winning the final map will be Choke Pokers. They do get the win here.
Choke Pokers, they get the win, they keep their pride. It was not a 4-0. Diaper Mafia and Jalopis being huge playmakers for their team in that last map. You saw that once the Doomfist is able to get comboing, it's so difficult to stop his progress. And it was really curious decision-making there from Ghost Bear. He had that self-destruct ready. I thought for sure he would just shoot it into that choke with that small hallway right before point B to zone away all of the attackers, but he held on to it, and when he got demeched, he was forced to use it in a really inopportune moment. And so a waste of some good opportunities on the side of Rocket Power, but Choke Pokers, they can pat themselves on the back for a good 4th map played.
Very good 4th map, and like you said, Ham, they've got to be happy. They get that prideful win at the end, but the winner of this one, of course, is Rocket Power, and deservedly so. They played an incredible couple of maps that we saw here, and even though they lost that last one, they definitely had one of the most fun things that we saw.
Absolutely. I hope somebody please clip that. Reddit needs to see that beautiful hook play.
I actually... Oh, the hook play I don't have, but I do have that 4K bomb, which won which basically is the reason why Choke Pokers won that.
Oh yeah, it was a hook
Oh,
into the Diva
wait.
Bomb, just to bringing it a little bit closer. That glowing warmth from an exploding mech.
Here it is.
As it was a quite the final play that ended up that definitely was the thing that made the difference. And it's funny how just one thing, Ham, can snowball a team into winning, and that was definitely the case there. That one play was the big difference.
Absolutely. Sometimes it's there's a lot to be said about strategies and the team play, but sometimes it just comes down to a good prayer sent up to RN Jesus and how you play off of the backs of those opportunities made on those unforced errors. So big congratulations to Rocket Power, but as we wait for the rest of the tournament to develop, folks, we will just be going to a short break. So feel free to top off your beverages or
that's the
refresh
end.
your. Oh, is that the end?
Yes.
Woo! Yay! It's been a marathon over here on the
It has
broadcast
been.
desk. So
Yep.
congratulations for Rocket Power, man. I guess they take everything.
Yeah,
Ben might be able
definitely.
to provide a little bit more detail.
Yeah, they win. We're going with Overwatch League rules. They won more of the 4, winning 3. That wins the best of 5. They win. Um, yeah,
And
but
so we won't be going on into. I know we were casting Group A, but that's the cutoff point for us.
yeah, the groups do not go to play each other.
Oh, I see. All right, great then. Well, the stakes even higher for Rocket Power then, but they can round of applause for this team. They pulled through in the end, even with some of those unfortunate mistakes, to the great entertainment of the viewing audience, of course.
Of course.
But yeah, anything you want to add in here, Labasco or Ben, before we sign off for the night?
I guess I'll start. And just a lot of fun again. It was I was half distracted with the Super Bowl on right now, but it was still a lot of fun to watch some of these games and to see teams are that dedicated where 100 million people are generally watching, and yet they're here on Sunday doing the work to try and get better. And I think that's really cool.
Yeah. So that's gonna be it from us. You can check out all of us on various social medias. All our names are like down below there. Check out Amateur Esports Organization. You can find our Discord at AEO. That's the invite link. You just put that into Discord and it gets you there.
Mm-hmm.
You can participate in this, the Sunday Scrims. You can participate in Monday Madness, which is a pickup game-based event. And you can participate in Tryout Tuesdays. I'm not sure how that one's formatted. You can go find that out if you're interested.
It's just it's kind of just some teams will get together and they can try and get some other players and basically try them out. So it's
Yeah.
just kind of a mix of stuff. It's kind of fun. It's kind of random teams at times too. So
it's sort of like a mix of
it's a mix of
Monday
randoms with
Madness
teams.
and
Yeah,
so it's
yeah,
like sort of a mix of both.
yeah,
Best of both worlds.
Exactly. It's a best of both worlds. Could try out
A
some new
buffet
things.
of play styles.
Yeah.
And that's what we provide. So that's the fun part.
Yeah, that's going to be it from all of us here at Amateur Esports Organization. I've been Ben Viglo, and I've been joined by Ham Tornado and Labasco. Thank you for tuning in. See you tomorrow.